Oh, we're at 2 pages so far. Whoa. My.
Was a way to print it out.
And let me know when you think you have everybody.
That's 38.
Wow.
Good. I want to get to know everybody on a first name basis. And okay. Welcome everyone to the Dover Conservation Commission hearing for September 13th, 2023. Lori, if you can go ahead and read the Zoom permission from the governor, please.
Following guidance issued by the governor regarding the open meeting law, this public meeting is held remotely. Individuals wishing to participate may do so using Zoom video conferencing technology. To join the meeting by video, using a computer or tablet, you may use the link on the agenda, which is listed on the website, or you may call in and enter the ID and passcode, and the meeting is being recorded.
Okay, great. Thank you. So good evening, everyone. We have an extremely full agenda tonight, and we have almost 2 pages worth of folks on Zoom here. So bear with us. We will try to deal with things properly, fairly, expeditiously. So the first thing that may cut down a little bit of this is we've had a couple requests for continuances that have come in. And I think the first one I saw was 78, is it 78 Wilsondale, Lori?
Strawberry Hill Street?
Oh, Strawberry Hill. And is there anybody here from 78 Strawberry Hill? And Janet, do you have, can you update us on that? Just the continuance aspect of it.
Sure. So I met with the project managers and also the town engineer yesterday. They have a number of revisions to make, both with their stormwater plan and also on site. So they hope to get that into us for the next meeting. Okay,
great. Thank you. The next I have is for 29 Saddle Ridge. Is that correct, Lori? And is there, oh, I see you, Debbie. So I saw you, why don't you fill us in? I saw this communications between you and Janet, and then I saw your request, but you're here. So if you want to just give us a quick reference relative to the request for continuance.
Sure. So we got Janet's comments a couple days ago. And based on the bylaw definition of the isolated land subject to flooding, we need to do some new calculations. We need the 100-year storm calculations and just kind of a regrouping. So the applicant is requesting relief until the next meeting, just so we can, you know, attend to Janet's comments.
Okay. And Janet, do you have, is there anything else to add to that? We don't need that much detail. We can cover it, you know, when they come before us. But is
yeah, so I send all my comments out to Deb and the owner, so they're aware of those. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So if you just I think you submitted the request for continuance, so we're all set on an administrative basis. Thank you. Do we have you up in front of us for anything else tonight?
For Haven for the.
Okay. And are we looking? Yes. Is there a request for continuance on that, or is that
for Haven? No.
Okay. And Lori, was there another request for continuance?
For 10 Draper from Artie and for 12 Miller Hill from Attorney Brooks.
Okay. So let's let's see, 10 Draper, I think Paul and Artie met last week or earlier this week, and they're just going through that information, and they'll be better able to address that at the next meeting. Is that correct?
Well, Artie was thinking that the commission wanted to schedule the site visits for you all, so he said if you all wanted to schedule that, let him know.
I think, well,
Or were you waiting to hear from Paul first?
yeah, I think that we would need to get something from Paul,
Okay.
before we go out there blind. Paul, do you have anything quickly to address that? Does that seem like the right course of action?
No, I did meet with Arnie, met the owners, happened to be there. We looked at the area. Laurie helped us track down the order conditions plan, which I did not have. So I think in the absence of a real public hearing, I'd just leave it at that for the moment.
Okay, great, thank you. And then I'm a little confused. So I think relative to 12 Miller Hill, Peter, let's see, I'm looking for Peter on my screen here. There you go. So you requested a continuance, Peter, is that correct?
Yes, I did. Would you like me to explain?
Yes, please.
Okay, so the draft enforcement order, amended enforcement order, proposed that a CERP be engaged to develop the restoration plan.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got a letter from counsel for the trustees joining in that request.
Mm-hmm.
So I have been working since that time to find somebody with the requisite qualifications. I have interviewed and today engaged Goddard Consulting. I think they're out of Northborough that have CERP on staff. And my belief is that it's in the best interest of everyone that they be involved in reviewing the draft enforcement order, commenting on it. I think it'll avoid in the future a need to seek an amendment to that order or clarification of that order. And they're not in a position to do that tonight. And I just think it's the best way to proceed. We have 7 months before, I think it's 7 months, 6 or 7 months before we need to start work on a restoration plan. And I don't think a 2-week continuance creates any prejudice in the process. I expect in the next 2 weeks, they'll be up to speed with all of the issues. We'll have reviewed a restoration plan that the Rollins proposed and be in a position to comment on this and perhaps provide some suggestions. So I'm just asking for a 2-week continuance.
Mm-hmm.
They've been hired, and I think we'll be in a better position in 2 weeks to come to some agreement on this.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why. A couple other things. I just wanted to add. I did not get comments from the Rollins Council until a little after noon today with a 3-page letter. There's no time for me to run that by our consultants to see what they think about those comments. Mr. Soderholm submitted comments. Those were not sent to me. I got them several days later from Janet. So there's, I don't think I've been given enough time to address all of the issues at this point.
Okay, thank you. And I, as well, I received the letter, I believe it was yesterday, from the trustees council. And so, which I think there were some very valid points, many that we would normally touch upon regardless. But I don't think commissioners have had a chance to fully digest that either. So there was no way we would be able to incorporate that any of those suggestions into an enforcement order for tonight. I don't see. I just wanted to point out that the 6 or 7 months out that you mentioned, Peter, is the end date. So we're theoretically we'd love if everyone can get to an agreement to get anything in the ground this year would be desirable as well. So I don't want to have things wait to the last minute there. And then Mr. McGregor, do you so my inclination is to go ahead and grant this continuance because of the items outlined by Mr. Brooks.
Thank you.
And we got your letter. Was it from you or was it from a different council? I think it was from you, was it?
Yes, my office.
Mhm.
First of all, this is not a hearing, so
Mhm.
it's not appropriate to have a continuance. I think in effect, Mr. Brooks is asking for putting off the discussion. That is to put off the item on the agenda. I think it's very appropriate not to put off the item on the agenda. You should continue to gather current intelligence to understand what comments anybody has on the enforcement order. And Mr. Brooks could have had any comments on the enforcement order all these weeks, or that matter, all these months. We could have avoided everything if he just agreed to retain the services of Wilkinson Ecological, who we originally proposed months ago, who is certified up and down.
Mhm.
So the bottom line, as you see in my note to you, the commission, is that there's no reason to postpone issuance of an amended enforcement order, which requires a certified restoration expert, just because Mr. Brooks has just retained one.
Mhm.
There's
And
no necessary
the-
relationship between his having finally got one and have told us, I guess, they are retained. And the enforcement order should not be, the amendment should not be delayed anymore. It just requires such a professional. And by the way, I don't think it's appropriate to wait 2 weeks for this unknown person to review your enforcement order. This is the kind of delay that is putting everything off.
So I see your point about a continuance not being necessary because it's not officially a hearing, it's an enforcement order. At the same time, I received something from your office yesterday that outlined a series of things that you'd like to have added to the enforcement order, which certainly doesn't give us enough time to review those and to even address them tonight, because we normally look for things like that to come in a week ahead of time. So it would seem to me that if you want the enforcement order to incorporate some of those items, we would still need some extra time. Wouldn't you, do you see where I'm coming from there?
Well, I'm just saying there's no reason to put off the discussion. Even if-
Mhm.
It's up to you whether to issue an amendment or to indicate what you probably will amend, or prepare amendments for most of the provisions, or propose precisely how you want to amend it, and then do it next meeting. But I don't think we should continue, quote unquote, the discussion. It's very important to keep the momentum on this, or the ultimate dates are going to be lost.
Mhm. Mhm. So, Janet, can you go ahead, Janet?
Sure. So just a quick recap on this situation. We issued an enforcement situation. I believe it was an enforcement order back in June, with the caveat that based on the required wetland delineation and tree inventory, that we would likely issue a new amended enforcement order with restoration plan requirements based on the delineation and tree inventory just recently done. So I did place this on the agenda. That was regardless of the flurry of letters and emails that we just received. I believe there is an important discussion for the commission to take place. So I'd recommend that we keep this on the agenda. According to the DEP enforcement manual, enforcement orders are not a negotiation. Any party to the enforcement order cannot request a continuance. They are not a party to our proceeding here, and we don't negotiate enforcement orders. So
Okay.
I think it's important for the commission to discuss this and next steps in a timeline.
Okay, and items to discuss, peripherally what we received yesterday. Also, it seems that the items regarding having our consultant review things, that's been done, is that correct?
Well, the discussion would be the memo that I wrote 3 weeks ago, and we touched upon briefly 2 weeks ago at the meeting, which was about 3 pages of an amended enforcement order. And at that meeting, we said we would continue our discussion tonight. So I think that's appropriate.
Okay, I recognize that, and I appreciate the clarification there. So since we have, Peter, you're here, let's continue that, so that we can, go over the items that we were going to discuss tonight, even though they may not include your CREP, personnel, because of timing. Let me just take a look at our agenda, see how things have been moved around to get an idea of when we'd be doing that. So that is, Janet, you have that done as one of the later items on this evening, is that correct?
Yes, it ended up being under my agent's report, but I think depending on how quickly things go, we could certainly move that up.
Okay. Well, let's see what we've had. I need to check off which things we have had canceled. So let's see. So I'm just curious as a, yeah, okay, I see where it is under an agent, because it's an enforcement order. I think we're the way we normally handle these things is we'll have to deal with that in the appropriate sequence, and we have several other items to hear prior to that tonight. So but just to let Mr. Brooks know, we probably will not get that to there for at least an hour, or for anyone there. So and I will hold to that in case, in some some guidance of the fate, we zip through everything in 45 minutes, but I doubt it. So let's, is there anything, Laura, is there any other continuances requested? No, you're muted.
Sorry, not that I'm aware of.
Okay, and Janet, do you know of any?
No.
Okay, then let's proceed with the normal order here, and we're looking at a RDA for 5 Sterling Drive regarding replacing a fence and removing a shed. And Janet, why don't you start with you?
Sure. So this is very straightforward. This is a proposal to replace an existing fence in the existing location and removal of a pool house and shed. So it has an overall environmental benefit to the wetlands, less structure, no new disturbance, no new impervious surface. I did do a site inspection with the homeowner, and we needed a revised site plan to show more clearly the fence location. And then there are 5 special conditions I'm recommending, which I did review with him. So I think he was comfortable with that. He also needed to show erosion control on the revised site plan. But because of the minor nature of the work, I would be comfortable with the commission approving a negative determination with the requirement that the revised site plan be submitted before that would be issued to them.
Okay, so you're saying that's something that could be voted on and held?
Yes.
Until they provide that? Okay. And is the homeowner or representative here tonight?
Yes, we are.
Okay. Do you have anything to add to that?
I don't think so, no. That's pretty straightforward.
Okay, great. Then I will entertain a motion to close the hearing.
Move to close the hearing.
Sarah?
Sorry, second. It
Yeah,
took me a while.
okay. All in favor? Actually, I think for the all in favor portion of things, I'll double check later on, but I think it's a little tedious to have to go through the roll call for all that. So I'll just ask for a ayes or nays for that. So all in favor of closing the hearing?
Aye.
Okay, and I'm an aye. Thank you. Okay, all in favor for granting the negative?
Yeah, move to issue a negative determination of applicability for the project at 5 Sterling Drive.
Okay,
Second.
with the changes outlined in the agent's
Yes.
report. Okay. And
Second.
thank you. All in favor? This will be a roll call. Tim?
Aye.
Sarah?
Aye.
Jim?
Aye.
Anna?
Aye.
Amy?
Aye.
And I'm an aye, and Amara, I think you have not yet been sworn in, is that correct?
That's correct, actually.
Okay, so yes, you have not been, or have you been?
Correct. I have not.
Okay. Okay, so wave at us, just let us know, because it's good to know, but we can't count your vote until you get sworn in. Okay, great. Then 5 Sterling Drive, communicate with Janet, and if you can get that information into her that she requested, and then you'll be able to pick that up and proceed. Okay.
Sounds good. And we just drop it off in the office, or?
Yes. Yeah, Monday through Thursday.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Good. Thanks, everybody.
Okay, you're welcome. Okay, 4 Sterling Drive. Janet, why don't you fill us in?
Okay, so we're moving across the street now to 4 Sterling Drive. This is a very straightforward request for determination, installation of a new fence. They're relocating some steps and then also relocating the walkway. I had a couple of comments and requested information. The fences being, a portion of it is within the 50-foot no disturb and 70-foot no structure setback. So we do require a regulatory waiver request. We also needed a revised site plan showing some erosion control. Sorry about that I went over with Joyce on site. And then when we issued the COC on this new house construction, we did require our normal deed restriction. And at the time of the COC, the closing was the next day. And we said, just submit proof of recording and we would go ahead and issue the COC. I have not seen proof of that recording. And so I would not want to approve this until we have the waiver requests, the revised site plan, and also the recorded deed restriction.
Okay, thank you. Joyce?
That sounds fine.
Okay, great. Then we'll continue this to the next hearing. And hopefully everything will be in play at that point. Thank you. Okay, let's see. Then we're looking at a minor plan change for 4 Juniper Drive. Why don't you fill us in, Janet?
So this is, again, very straightforward. They have an existing order of conditions. They're asking to modify the site plan to install an underground propane tank at the very edge of the buffer zone. They already have existing erosion control, so I recommend approval of this with no additional conditions.
Okey-doke. And as a minor modification, just a simple vote on that, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, then I'll entertain a motion for that.
Move to approve the modification for
4
Sterling Drive.
No, Juniper,
Oh, no,
Juniper
Lane,
Juniper
sorry.
Lane. Yeah. Okay.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor? Tim?
Aye.
Sarah?
Aye.
Jim?
Aye.
Anna?
Aye.
Yeah, Amy? And I'm an aye as well. So, and Amber, you can, if you're in favor, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Moving on to 8 Pagan Lane, a request for a COC. Why don't you go ahead, Jen, and fill us in? This looks like it's a 2-parter here.
Right, so we received an RDA, but there was an outstanding order of conditions for their aquatic management plan at Fuller's Pond. So that's what we'll take up first. So this goes back before my time, but there was an outstanding order of conditions for a 12-year aquatic management plan. So the order of condition was extended several times. There was nothing in the file outlining or summarizing the work done in the pond during that time. And I thought it was appropriate to ask for some kind of a summary before we issue the certificate of compliance. So the consultant for the RDA for 8 Pagan, that's Anthony Damanio from GZA. I believe he was going to try to track down the management company, which is now Solitude, and get some information. I just think it would be good to have something in the record indicating, was the aquatic management plan, was it successful, was it not? And just have a little more information to close out that file.
Mhm. And is Anthony here tonight? Anybody
Bob.
represent? What's that?
Anthony's not here. My name is Derek Shipper. I'm with GZA tonight.
Hi. Mhm.
And sorry, I didn't hit video. So yeah, Anthony put the compliance request together, and I gotta check with him if he was able to get a hold of Solitude and see if he can get the documentation that they're looking for. But this was done, well before GZA's involvement with the project, but we'll try to close that loop.
Okay. And have you been out to the site yourself, Eric, or?
Then yes.
And what's the status of vegetation on the pond currently?
I was there a couple of years back, and I recall it being the fall. I was really looking at, I'm a geotechnical engineer, a dam engineer. I was more looking at the dam structure I'll talk about. I wouldn't want to really comment.
Okay. Yep. So then, Janet, given a normal, circumstance where we don't move forward on something, but this seems a little different. One's an active, an ongoing management plan versus the RDA for the repair work. What's your sense on this?
Yeah, I think we could go ahead and open the hearing on the RDA. I am recommending a positive DOA on that, so it really doesn't make any difference. Yeah.
Okay. Then why don't you fill us in on why, what's going on and why you're recommending the positive DOA?
Okay, so they're at 8 Pagan Lane. They own a portion of Fuller's Pond, and they own a private dam structure that leads into a perennial stream. They're proposing some, I would say, substantial repair and replacement work. They did not submit BVW delineation forms. I had a number of outstanding questions, and I also started thinking about conditions. And MACC guidance is, if you have more than 2 or 3 or 4 conditions that are major conditions, you're probably looking at an NOI that would be more appropriate. This is going to be work in the pond, on land underwater, also in BVW and in bank. I think the leverage that an NOI and an order condition gives us in terms of oversight, in terms of it being recorded, and also approving a delineation, warrants an NOI in this condition. I have talked to some of my colleagues in other towns. Their sense is that this would rise to the level of an NOI as well.
Yeah. And Derek, do you want to address the work you're proposing and Janet's review of that?
Yes, certainly. Would it be possible to share my screen? I do have some photos.
Sure. Yep.
Oh, share screen, there it is. Okay. You see it now?
It's coming up. Yeah, we see your picture there.
All right, so this is a picture of the dam, although I know I have more. So there's, as we said, there's an unnamed pond here at 8 Pagan Lane, and the dam structure is located right about here at this end of the pond. This is an unregulated dam. It is not a jurisdictional dam for Mass Office of Dam Safety. In the primary issue is the center pier of the structure, I'll show you in a minute, is deteriorated. And the fear is that it could break off and release, result in an uncontrolled release of water and sediment downstream. So that's, you know, why we're here. That's why the owner reached out initially.
Mhm.
Here's the spillway, this is looking downstream, so the pond is out here. And this is the deteriorated section of the center pier. And again, the fear is that this could fall in, and then these boards would fall in as well. The pond would drop, you know, almost 2 feet, and you'd have an uncontrolled release of water. So that's the issue.
Mhm.
Here's a close-up of that spillway. You can see there's some pretty considerable deterioration. You know, these are the stop logs to the left and the right of the pier. Here's a view from the upstream end. You know, here's the pond, and here's the bank over here, and this is the upstream end of the pond, the dam. Just a little, you know, you can see the stop logs here are bowing in the downstream direction, you know, probably just from water load or ice load, or even the buildup of sediment upstream has accumulated. Just forcing the logs in the downstream direction. So here's what we would propose to do. The first thing we would do is remove that center pier, and that would thus create, you know, that we put 5 new stop log bays in here with these stanchion supports. They'd be mounted right on top of the existing spillway. In addition, we would put about a 5-yard section of concrete to buttress that face of the spillway where there was some deterioration. We think it'd be a good thing to do. So, you know, we're not proposing any bank disturbance. Everything would be done inside the structure here. And you know, as far as the control of water, well, first of all, we did do, although we didn't do wetland forms and such, because we were trying to keep the cost down for the owner here, was just trying to do the right thing and fix this dam. We did do some wetland flagging, and we surveyed them in. But the general procedure for the way we would do work is to put, you know, some water control, pass water down one side and do the work on this side, and then swap it. And so what would this water control consist of? Probably maybe like a bladder dam or something, if you've seen that, or maybe even, sorry. You can see, if I were the contractor here, I might even just put maybe pieces of plywood over here just to temporarily hold the water back. So that's really your only disturbance would be, you know, if you do put a bladder bag here or something, just to pass water over this side while you work on the other side, and then reverse direction. All the other work will be performed within the existing concrete structure. So that's all I have to offer here. And again, we're just trying to keep costs down for the owner here. She's just trying to do the right thing and fix this dam for an incident.
Mm-hmm. Is there a option to lower the level of the dam and then work on it, you know, at that point?
That is certainly, yeah,
the level of the pond, you know,
we could remove the stop logs. That would lower the pond 1.5 feet or something. Do the work and then put the stop logs back up, and then let the water charge up with time. I know drawing down ponds can be a sensitive thing. We're just trying to minimize disturbance out there.
No, it's appreciated. And how would you for 5 yards of concrete, how close can you get relative to a concrete truck or a pump or something?
Yeah, so what I didn't mention is in the dam world, looking downstream is, you know, left and the right. So the property owner is on the left side over here, and on the other side of the dam, the right side, is where he's hoping to get access. And she's still in discussions with the folks who live on the right side here to get a concrete truck down. But my thought is we could get relatively close, and then just have a chute extend down to where the concrete would need to be placed. So that's
within 30 to 40 feet, or?
Yeah, I think that's pretty accurate.
Okay. And so as we're looking at this picture that you have, the upstream end, the right-hand side of that is all the infrastructure here is owned by your client, or is some of it shared with the other client? I mean, the other owner?
She owns the entire dam, yes, and then there are abutters to the pond also, that,
I see.
Right.
And in Janet's, her review, she, questioned the, some sort of proof that other people are aware of this, or, I guess there's a,
association.
association there. And has there been communication with the association?
Not through me, but my understanding is the owner has been communicating with everyone, and that they're all in, I think they're all in agreement and, sharing the cost of this work.
Mhm.
I'm not privy to all that at this time.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank
So, Janet, I don't disagree with you. I'm gonna open this up to other commissioners for any questions, concern. I think this is any sort of work like this where anything that were to happen unexpectedly, we'd want to have a notice of intent filed here. Amy?
I just was looking at Mass Mapper for something else, and actually looking at the right-hand property. It's Dover Land Trust, I believe. But it has the driveway for number 15. So
Oh,
I
I
was
see,
looking
right.
at it
Oh.
because the contractor for number 15 has put a big old sign in the middle of Dover Land Trust's field, so I'm hoping
So maybe you guys can talk
hoping to
to us.
intervene on that. Was
Uh-huh.
why I was looking at that piece, but
Oh, that's interesting. Okay. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Okay.
yeah, no, and I think we can do it in a friendly fashion. We don't have to, I think their contractor didn't know it wasn't their land, because
Right,
Mhm.
exactly.
their driveway.
Exactly. Right.
But so I'm not worried about it. I just
Mhm.
wanted to make sure I had my facts right before. And so looking at it, so if they're planning on coming in that way, they're coming on conservation land, on land trust land. So
Right, right.
just saying that, I think.
Well, I think Janet's point is well taken, that if we have multiple abutters here, that this should be communicated and addressed, so that nobody's ready to pour concrete and have somebody kicking them out of off their property.
Well, with an NOI, wouldn't that trigger the abutter notification?
I'm hearing a voice, but I'm not seeing.
Yeah,
Was that
Jim,
you, Jim?
you're kind of muted.
Yeah, you kind of muted it. Maybe move a little closer.
With the NOI, wouldn't that trigger the abutter notification?
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely, yeah. And you're still very faint. I don't know if you changed machines, phone, or whatever, but yeah. So is there any commissioners who think that a determination would be the way to go as opposed to an NOI? Okay, then why don't we let's just take a look at this. So basically, Janet, you're saying that, well, we also need to get the COC taken care of. And it seems pulling together the NOI may take a little bit longer than the COC, one would hope. For the requested determination, then Janet, you're recommending a positive determination, is that correct?
That's right.
Okay, then I will entertain a motion, actually on an RDA, well, I guess, yeah, we'll close the hearing.
Yes, and I think what we do is we vote against it,
Right.
against granting it.
Right, and so we're
so
giving it, so it's not a negative determination, it's a positive determination that it does
Right.
need an NOI.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yes.
And Janet, you
Move to close the hearing?
Second.
all in favor? Sarah?
Aye.
Or actually, no, we'll just do, as I said,
Okay.
And
overall aye.
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 Hi.
Any nays? No, okay.
Okay, move to. So do you want me
To
frame
issue
this as
a positive
to approve a
determination.
negative and then vote against it, or To
We're,
approve.
no, we're
positive.
gonna, we're right, and as we're gonna, not accept the negative, and we will vote that it's a positive determination.
Okay.
That it will
Move-
require an NOI.
Move to issue a positive determination of applicability for this project.
Okay, great.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, Sarah,
Aye.
Anna,
Aye.
Tim,
Aye.
Amy,
Aye.
Jim,
Aye.
did I miss anybody? Myself, aye. Okay. Then, so that, Derek, is that clear then? We still want to proceed with the COC, pull that information together, and then we will need to file a notice of intent for this.
Right.
Okay. Thank you. Let's see, then we're looking for a COC for 28 Miller Hill. Jenna, why don't you fill us in on that?
So this was a COC that was triggered because the current homeowner is looking to build a pool, so they have a notice of intent filed as well. Reviewing the file, when the house was first built several years ago by Calumet, apparently there have been about 3 different homeowners before the current homeowner, and a COC was never issued for any of those transactions. And inspecting the site, there are a number of not minor but not substantial violations of the order of conditions, apparently from the original builder. The stormwater runoff infiltration trench around the driveway was never installed, which led then to severe runoff towards the wetland, and someone along the way installed an unpermitted drainage swale to deal with that runoff. So that has to be addressed as outlined in my notes. And then we also need, after the fact waiver request, there are a couple of structures and disturbances in what had been, so when this was actually issued, it was our 25 no disturb and a 40-foot no structure, but we have both disturbance and structures in those areas. So we do need an after effect waiver request, and also our deed restriction that was required whenever a parcel was transferred, that has never happened. So that needs to be completed and recorded.
When you mentioned a deed restriction, you make that sound as if anytime a property is sold, that a new deed restriction needs to be granted, drawn up.
That's how our condition reads. Yes.
And that in that particular condition reads that way.
Yes.
It's not just the original deed restriction that will then follow through with any later conveyances.
No, it applies to all successors.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but it stays. So normally attorneys just take the deed that would include that restriction and incorporate that going forward. Is that adequate?
That's not how we've been doing that.
So you're saying that's
So it's a comment in the deed. It's a paragraph in the deed. So if someone's if the deed is repeated, the same paragraph is there. I'm not sure it's there in the current deed.
Okay.
Joyce Hastings from GLM. I represent the applicant for both this request for certificate and the following notice of intent. And Janet has given us some very well thought out comments that we need to address. So we would like to continue this and the notice of intent until your next meeting so we can address those.
Okay.
I don't think it makes sense to go through the proposal for anything until we.
No, we weren't
finish up with the
planning.
comment.
Yeah, because we haven't closed out the other one. So the
right.
Okay, then why don't we and have you emailed Lori on that, or you will be?
Yeah, I can do that. I have not.
Okay, great. Thank you. Then we'll go ahead and continue this. Okay. Then moving on, we have an approval of peer review estimates. So we have 2 estimates from Ecotech. One is for Junction Street, the Pulte review of their NRAD. and the other is for 10 Draper Road. Why don't we, Paul, if you can go ahead and give us some, a quick lowdown on each of those, please.
So basically, excuse me, the ANRAD review, I just provided an estimate to, my intent would be to meet with the applicant's consultant on the property. That's the most efficient thing to do. I think we can get through that in a day. Barring any major issues, typically we're able to, to work out any differences of opinion. Occasionally that means agreeing to disagree. But I expect we could get through that in a day, and report back to the commission in writing, with those findings, including any changes, which would then typically get put on a revised plan. So it's fairly straightforward scope.
Okay. And did you come up with an amount?
I did, and I don't.
Janet, do you have that by any chance?
I do have it here. I had the wrong file.
Oh, okay.
So I had basically $1,600 to $2,400.
Okay. Okay. And we'll deal with that again with as we review the NRAD and a few other items. Also, folks, for Lot 2 Hartford Street, it was my mistake. I jumped over you, but this will be finished in just a moment, and then we'll come back to you. And then for 10 Draper Road, Paul, there seems to be a fair amount of paperwork research as well as going out on the site. Is that correct?
That's correct. Proposal for to review the whole file, to have a meeting on site with the applicant's representative, which I did do, to then prepare, put those findings, try and organize kind of the history, the regulatory status, regulatory framework, I guess, really for the commission, and then a summary of the differences between what was approved and the current condition. And my goal would be to lay that out in an organized fashion, so that the commission could then go. My understanding was, which I think is a good idea, that the commission go and see it for yourselves, but really to try and provide that A, the framework, and B, kind of a punch list of differences for you to be able to efficiently go and see what that situation is.
Okay, and the amount for that?
That I don't know that I have that. Janet, do you, or Laurie, do you have that handy?
It was in a similar price range, somewhere between 18 and 24.
That sounds right. I can.
Let's see if anyone has it.
Sorry, Joan and Paul, to interrupt. It was, this is 10 Draper. It was 1,920 through 2,400.
Okay. So why don't we vote to accept that? Well, commissioners, does anyone have anything they'd like to say on that? Go ahead, Anna.
It sounds good, but we have one public comment, I think.
Okay, I see Becky Daniels there. Well, this one, so what I'm looking here is to deal with 10 Draper Road. Is that what you're looking? Okay, so let's vote on acceptance of that estimate on 10 Draper Road. Is there anyone who has any comments on that? Okay, and entertain a motion.
I guess my only question for Paul is I just want to make sure that in both those cases, you're including the site visit with the commission, or is that going to be another proposal after?
No, I've included that in both cases.
Great, because we definitely need that.
Yeah. So
okay.
So I'll entertain a motion to accept the estimate for 10 Draper.
Move to approve the estimate for 10 for a peer review of for 10 Draper Road.
Okay. Thank you. All in favor? Sarah?
Aye.
Anna?
Aye.
It's Tim?
Aye.
Jim?
Aye.
Amy?
Aye.
And I'm an aye as well. Okay, we'll deal with the estimate for Junction Street once we open the hearing for the ANRAD, which is but before I do that, let me go back to Lot 2 Hartford Street that I jumped over by inadvertently. So Janet, can you fill us in on this?
John, this is Joyce from GLM. We're going to continue this one also based on Janet's comments to be ready for the
Okey-doke.
next meeting.
Okay, thank you. And just send a quick letter into Lori, please.
I'm
Okay.
just wondering, in case we have any abutters here, if it might be a good idea, at least Joyce, to have you present the plan so people are aware of
Yeah.
exactly what's happening.
Are there any abutters for this?
I'm looking, nope, I don't see.
Becky,
Uh,
are you here for Junction or for?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so seeing that there's no abutters, I don't see a need, Joyce, to present tonight. Is that okay with you?
Fine with me.
Okey-doke, great, thank you. Okay, moving on, we then now open the hearing for 144-902. It's the abbreviated notice of resource area delineation. We'll refer to it as an ANRAD. This is for property on Junction Street for proposed 40B. And Janet, why don't you give us a quick lay of the land here, and then we'll have the Pulte representative present.
Sure. So this is an application just to review and have the commission approve the wetland delineation on the property. There were just a couple comments on this that I believe Rich Kirby from LEC will go over. But my only comments at this point, very preliminary, were that the buffer zone line was very similar to an elevation contour line, and have him revise that, which I believe he did, and he'll show that. Also, I asked, there was an individual who signed on behalf of the property owner. I asked just for a letter from the property owner indicating who is legally allowed to sign on behalf of him. And we did receive that letter as well. I sent that out to the commission. And then we got two comments from Carol Lisbon, the planning board chair. One had to do with clarification on the size of the lot. Originally, it was approximately 17 acres as described by Pulte in their August 1st presentation to the town. The ANRAD indicates 27.85 acres. So I think Rich Kirby will address that. Carol also identified a concern about the floodplain reference. I think, as most people know, FEMA is in the process of revising the firm data and maps. And I believe that, well, in some towns, there's substantial changes. I don't think we know exactly what they're going to be, but Carol just wanted to flag that the floodplain line could change on this lot. And that's, yeah.
Okay, thank you. We have, I'm assuming that we have so many folks sitting in this evening because they're curious about this project. And I just want to open up and let people know that we are viewing this strictly from the Conservation Commission's responsibilities, which includes the first 100 feet of anything associated, a buffer, 100-foot buffer beyond any wetlands that are flagged. In this particular case, the wetlands that are flagged, I'm sure Rich will show us, but there's a center section of wetlands, and then the 100-foot buffer is beyond either side of that. As a 40B, even as we reviewed that, this is basically the ANRAD is a determination whether or not the flagging is appropriate and accurate for the outlining where the wetlands actually are. And we will, as we discussed earlier, we'll enlist the aid of Ecotech to go over the ANRAD and confirm that it was done accurately, or if there are any adjustments that need to be made, that gets worked out. This is not a meeting that has anything to do with the statute of the 40B statute itself relative to the types of buildings there, the density of buildings, or any of that sort, because until we get this determined, it means nothing to us relative to density, because we need to know where the wetlands are. On top of that, the point of 40B on a state basis is to allow for higher density housing than towns typically allow, especially towns such as ours, which are a little bit more rural and have larger lot sizes. We don't have much control over that, so they get they don't have to conform to setbacks that the town may have, or lot sizes, and also that carries over into conservation. We have bylaws for conservation in Dover that are stricter than the state's DEP regulations, the Wetlands Protection Act. And so that our 100-foot buffer, they can ask a waiver from that buffer to the Zoning Board of Appeals, and the state can enforce the ability to build closer to the wetland than we would typically allow somebody to do. And we can review that relative to drainage and voice our concerns, and those can be sent to Mass Housing Authority and other agencies. But we do not have the same level of control that we typically have over single-family construction in town. So I just wanted to let everybody know that on the front end, and also the fact that we are just getting started here. So we're not making any judgment whether regarding the viability of this. We're just looking to make sure that we get an accurate representation of the wetlands that are on the property and how that was determined. Janet, do you have anything to add to that?
Nope, nope.
Okay, great. With that, then I will, I'm assuming, Rich, you'll be the main presenter?
Yes, good evening. I'm Rich Kirby from LEC Environmental Consultants. I'm representing Pulte Homes of New England. And with me tonight is Essek Petrie and Mark Mastriani from Pulte Homes. And just to further your thought, Mr. Chairman, this is an ANRAD application seeking confirmation of the wetland boundaries on the property. There's no project proposed at this time for the commission. If and when a project is proposed, we would file a notice of intent application, and we'd be re-notifying abutters of the public hearing process at that time. So we're not prepared to talk about any potential project on the site tonight. We're strictly here to talk about the resource areas.
Mm-hmm.
So this property does measure just slightly over 17 acres off of Junction Street. It's just south of the Dover Sherborne High School and Middle School, and north of Evergreen Way in Medfield. It's on the west side of Junction Street, and it's largely undeveloped, containing woodlands, forested uplands, forested wetlands. And we delineated the bordering vegetated wetland boundary on the property on July 27th of this year. And there is a system that sort of bifurcates the site in a north-south direction with uplands on either side. The uplands are dominated by pine and oak. The wetlands are dominated by red maple. We have ridgeberry type soils within the wetland portion, and the ridgeberry soils are flanked by woodbridge soils in the upland. There's no floodplain on the property, and there's no rare species habitat on the property. We did submit the pending revised FEMA map earlier today, which may be accepted later this year. My understanding is there's no Zone A floodplain on the property. We did submit the letter, as Janet indicated, from the property owner authorizing Pulte to file the ANRAD application. And we did submit a revised plan. There was a typo on the original ANRAD plan indicating roughly 27 acres, and that got transcribed into the ANRAD application report, but it is indeed 17.07 acres. So, and that plan has been revised and submitted, And that plan that we revised also emboldens the 100-foot buffer zone, changes the line weight so you can more easily differentiate between the 100-foot buffer zone line and the 220 contour that's on the property. So not a whole lot here, just just that we delineated the wetland resource areas. We fully anticipate the commission to hire a peer reviewer to go out there and review the line. And at this point, I'm happy to turn it back over to the chair.
So we're expecting to show us that plan, or are we going to wait for the?
Oh, sure. Yeah, absolutely. Let me share the plan.
And before I forget, Rich, there seemed to be something that was coming up that there was a national heritage protected species or something of that sort on there. Did you encounter that in your review?
Yeah, I've got a couple of documents that I can share here. Hold on just a second.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that we didn't overlook that.
I indicated in the presentation that the site was not in rare species habitat, but I can show you the map that we included in the ANRAD as Appendix A.
And I'm sorry, maybe I didn't hear it right, but you said Dover Westwood, but it's Dover Medfield. Correct?
Oh, did I say Westwood? I meant Medfield.
I thought I heard Westwood. It
very well could be. I've had a
so
lot on my
it's
plate
Dover
lately.
Medfield, right?
Yes,
Yep.
that's correct.
Okay.
Immediately
Okay.
north of the Dover Medfield
Right.
town
Okay.
boundary. So this is the Mass GIS aerial, and you can see in the bottom right-hand corner, the Mass GIS aerial, we have the legend, which includes the certified vernal pools, potential vernal pools, estimated habitats of rare wildlife with a green hatch, priority habitat of rare species with a yellow hatch, and none of those hatches occur on the 17-acre site, which is comprised of the 4 parcels that you see here.
So we had pulled up some things that show, okay, if you continue up to the upper.
So to the north of the site, several 100 feet away, on the west side of the school property, you can see there is priority and estimated habitat there. But that is well north of the subject parcel.
So that seemed to, and I noticed that this is a 2021 map. I think there was one from almost 10 years ago that seemed to show that extending a little further into the property. Were you familiar with that?
No, I wasn't familiar with it. We only deal with the most recent maps because those are the maps that are referenced in the regulations.
Okay.
Hey, John, I think what you're thinking of is Biomap 2, which does encompass
Rich
it's different than the habitat.
Yeah, and it very well may be within that Biomap 2. There really is no regulatory results or implications for Biomap 2 under the Wetlands Protection Act or the local bylaw. So we typically don't include that layer on the map.
Okay. Well, we have our ways to go as we review things. So why don't you go ahead and continue?
Sure. So this is the property here. This is the revised plan. And I'll zoom in a little bit. You can see the 4 lots, 1, 2, 3, 4. There's a pathway that bifurcates the site in a southeast, northwest direction. You can see it there. I'm sure many of the abutters are probably familiar with that path. And if we zoom in, you can see the wetland delineation with this sort of jagged line with BVW wetland flag numbers labeled throughout. It expands on the north side, on the school side, continues to the south, and then just sort of ends abruptly with some historic fill that was likely installed when these lots along Evergreen Drive were developed.
Can you just give people the bearings and as outline where Junction Street is and where the school is relative to the property?
So this is Junction Street here. North is up on the plan, similar to the aerial that we just observed. These are the lots associated with Evergreen down here. This is the town of Dover, town of Medfield, town boundary, right along there. And then, of course, the school property is to the north. So that's that would be this land up here. Dover
Okay.
Sherborne Regional School District is the owner of this parcel, for example.
And the
as well as
driveway
the
that goes into the school is, where would that be located?
Just, it would be off-site just to the north here.
So go along that property line to to the northwest?
I'm not sure if it goes right along the property line. I think it's slightly north.
Okay.
So Junction Street is off Farm Street, so I'm assuming that's where you're pointing would be Farm Street.
Not until you get off the map, as you go up towards the arrow.
Yeah, if we
Oh.
go back to the aerial. Can everyone see the aerial?
There we
Yep.
go. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is Farm Street right up here.
Mhm.
And
Okay, and this is the property.
Yeah, so the driveway does
Yep, right
go
there.
driveway
along
is
that.
right
Yep.
there. So
Yep.
it is pretty close to that
Yeah.
property boundary there.
Okay, I wanted to let everyone see where things were relative to.
Sure.
Because the orientation was a little bit different. So, okay. Thank you.
All right, so with that, I'm happy to answer any additional questions that the
Can you-
chair
can you,
commission
uh,
members may have.
Yeah, since things aren't outlined in color, can you show the wetlands on the other plan, sort of outline the wetlands?
Sure, let me zoom in a little bit to give you a better idea. So when we delineate the wetlands, we go to the site and we evaluate the plants and soils and indicators of hydrology that are present. And we'll hang flags along the boundary that separates the primarily upland conditions from the primarily wetland conditions. And those flags are numbered. We started here with flag 1 and continued south, coming close to Junction Street and then angling back through the path and then headed back toward Junction Street, ending at flag 94 on the east side. And then similarly, we started at the northern property boundary.
So let's do one click out so that we get a little bit more context on this.
Starting at 1A, 2A, 3A, continuing south again, all the way down to the southern property, ending at 43A. We also flagged an upland island that you see here. This is an island of upland that's contained within the wetland. There may be others, but this one was important because it was right along the gravel pathway here. So we flagged that with a U series, U1 through U14 right here. So all of these flags are present at the site. They're orange flags with the words LEC resource area printed in black, and then each of them are numbered.
Okay. And can you again pull out just a little bit more and then sort of as if you had a marker outlined the inside portion of the wetland, and it was where the wetland, you noted on the plan, it's a little hard to see, but you have the where it says wetland.
Sure.
Exactly.
I'm dragging my cursor across the wetland from boundary to boundary. Right in here.
So the predominant there is it goes from people looking in from Junction Street. On the left side of Junction Street, on the Medfield side, if you move down a little further, it starts there and then cuts across from left to right, if your view is from Junction Street, across pretty much the entire lot. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Yep. And then if you can just a little further up, just outline how it widens out there.
Yep, this is where it widens out. The boundary continues off to the east on this side, and then off to the northwestern property corner on this side.
Okay. Okay. Is there anything else you'd like to add, Rich?
I think that's it. A lot more detail in the application, of course, describing the plants and the soils that we observed. We provided DEP data forms that were representative of a transect across the wetland boundary in a few locations. So again, happy to continue answering any questions.
Okay. So then at this point, it'd be good to bring up the estimate we have from Ecotech concerning this review. And as people note, all the flags, that Rich, Mr. Kirby had outlined, Ecotech will walk the site with LEC. I'm not sure if it actually would happen simultaneously or they'll meet at some point, and review all those and see and make any changes if he thinks that it's warranted. And then that would be reviewed and adjusted. But that gives you an idea of how this ANRAD process gets started and how it will proceed.
Sorry, John, to interrupt you, but there's two hands up in the gallery.
Yep. No, we'll get there. Thanks. I appreciate it. I just wanted to let people, because I didn't want to have I want to try to answer some questions in advance there by outlining that. Paul, why don't you go ahead?
Sure. I just had a question for Rich. In reading the ANRAD application, you basically say, delineation in accordance with state regulations and the bylaw regulations. But when in fact, as I'm sure you know, they're actually different. There's a vegetation only criterion. In the end, just for other people's information, they will need ultimately, as Rich said, to file a notice of intent if the project goes forward. The notice of intent to the commission would typically be, in this case, in a 40B case, only under the act. The Zoning Board of Appeals would deal with the local wetlands bylaw as part of the comprehensive permit. And my question is, do you feel that the boundary that you flagged is representative of both jurisdictional criteria? Because again, for others' information, under the bylaw, it's a vegetation only criterion for the wetland delineation. Under the state regulations, it's vegetation and indicators of hydrology as Rich described.
Mm-hmm. Right. So yeah, I mean, the boundaries are, pretty similar between those two. There may be a couple of areas where the line deviates one way or the other, but I'm sure we'll get to the bottom of that as part of your peer review, Paul.
Okay.
And Rich, where did you augur any locations to check on hydrology?
Sure. Yeah, we evaluated the soil conditions throughout the site along the entire length of the wetland boundary.
And did that expand in any places, beyond vegetation, or what was your experience?
They were for the most part coterminous. Again, like I said, I'm putting my mind's eye back to where I was on July 27th. I don't recall specifically, exact locations where one may have deviated from the other, but we can certainly take a look at that during the peer review.
Okay. What I'd like to do before I open this up to additional comments is, first thing is I'd like to take care of administratively, just have a vote on the acceptance of the peer review estimate from Ecotech. So I'll entertain a motion for that.
Sure. Move to approve the estimate from Ecotech for the Junction Street project.
Second.
Okay. Thank you. All in favor? Sarah?
Aye.
Tim?
Aye.
Anna?
Aye.
Amy?
Aye.
I don't know if Jim's still around or not.
Aye.
Oh, there we go. Thank you. And I'm an aye as well. Okay, then and then Rich, is there or Mark or one of the others on this? I assume you're aware of how that operates. We'd be looking for a check to the under 53G in terms of Mass General laws for be put into an account and will be paid out to the consultant on an invoice basis. Is that something that's acceptable to you?
Yes, John, thanks for asking. This is Essex Petrie with Pulte. We are comfortable with that. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. And we'll have that out to you in writing.
Excellent, thank you.
Okay. Commissioners, are there any questions?
Nope.
Okay. Okay. With that, I will open it up to residents at large, and please identify yourself and your address when you speak and when I call on you. And so Becky, you've been very patient. If you fill us in on who you are and where you live.
Sure thing. My name is Becky Daniels. I live over at 6 Evergreen Way in Medfield. Tonight I am representing the Hardinghood Neighbors Group, which I believe Flavia Benson got in touch with Janet about. We were hoping to request that we have a consultant be present as an observer at the peer review of the ANRAD, our own consultant.
Interesting. Especially given that you're not part of the town, I certainly am aware of how the concerns you have being direct abutters. Janet, any thoughts on that?
I believe as long as the property owner, and again, I believe it's the property owner, not the applicant, since the applicant's not the property owner. As long as it would be consent by the property owner, that would be okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
And
we would love to formally request that of the property owner.
okay, well, and so what we'll do is we will look into that, and we may run it by town council, but the easiest thing would be Essex. You submitted a letter saying you had the ability to speak to represent the property owner. Is that correct?
Yes, we do. Mark in
And is that-
particular does.
Okay, so Mark, is it, and I'm sure this is not your first rodeo, is that something you'd be willing to have happen?
Yeah, hi, John. Again, Mark Mastriani, Pulte Homes for the record. I think it would be best to consult with the property owner on that request. I've jotted down the question, and I think after the meeting, I'll have an opportunity to talk with the property owner, and we can get back to Janet with the decision.
And I think as I mentioned, I alluded to, we'll give town council a call. Becky, the peer review person that we've hired is one of the most respected in the state. My guess, we may not be able to do anything with your request there, but but we are mindful of your concerns. But this is a arm's length review of them. It's not, there's no collusion or anything of that sort involved here. So just want to sort of set your expectations there.
Yes, I would point out that this is a peerless reviewer.
Okay, thank you. Duly noted. Okay.
John, this is Janet again. Procedurally, I think it would make the most sense to have the commission's peer review do his review, his report, and then if the neighborhood group wants to have their consultant peer review our peer reviewer review, I think that would save time rather than them having that person look at two.
No, you're right on the thought process I had, and as this will move more smoothly by keeping it within the town for the time being. But Becky, I think your association had asked for to get any copies of things sent to you.
We would love that, and meeting notes, minute notes from this meeting.
So I think that's, expect that's really the way this will most likely be handled, rather than bringing too many chefs to this. The people involved, also LEC is one of the more preeminent firms in the state as well. So this is being handled on a very professional level for review, and that's just to set the wetlands. If the wetlands are confirmed, that still doesn't mean that Pulte will be going forward with anything, because they need to review all that. Let's see, other hands. Carol Lisbon. Can't hear. You're muted, Carol. Oh,
Okay.
there we go.
Was off screen. Thank you. I'm Carol Lisbon, 2 Cross Street. I'm also Chair of the Planning Board. Just wanted to ask either Essex or Mark or the gentleman from LAC, sorry, I forgot your name.
Rich.
Just as a guesstimate, knowing that the final delineation is yet to be done, but you're probably close, as you stated. Of the 17.05 acres, how much of it is probably wetlands? Not the buffer, but just wetlands?
Rich, you're on.
Yes, that's a great question. I'm not sure we calculated that. But we could certainly work with the project surveyor to get you that number.
I would appreciate that. And the reason I ask, not only out of curiosity, because I find reading those types of plans just impossible, but and maybe this is a question more for Mark at this point. There's been an assumption, I think, in this conversation that this is going to be a 40B, and based upon Pulte's presentation to all of us on August 1st, there are various options that need to be considered. So we need to understand the percentage of the actual amount of buildable land in order for Dover Planning Board to work with our consulting on housing to understand the applicability of this site for another type of housing. So it is rather important that once the final delineation gets done, that we actually get some numbers as far as acreage and so forth. So I just wanted to put that into the request.
Nope, that's understood, Carol. We'll work with you on that.
Great, thank you.
Okay. Let's see. Liz Gibson, you had been speaking to either talking to yourself or speaking to somebody off camera, but go ahead.
Yes, sorry. I am speaking because I live at 159 Farm Street in Dover, and I have met with the Harding Hood neighborhood, and Becky was so great to actually get the wetlands specialist to speak to us all. So if they were requesting that they were part of a meeting, I'm happy to be that representative from Dover, as we are abutters of this land. We live literally on the corner of Junction and Farm Street. That's my home is on the map that I think, is it Rich that was just showing all that and detailing all the property. I could actually see my house and everything. So on the aerial view, that was really detailed. So I'm happy to be the representative of that if you'd rather keep it within the town, and then I can relay information as well. Or if we can get the information directly to Medfield residents as well, that would be great. I'm just saying I'm working very closely with them because we're all very much so abutters and very interested in this project. Secondly, based on what Carol was actually just saying, where the wetland amount of the actual 17.7 acres, determining that, I am wondering if the state regulations are more relaxed on the ability to build on wetlands. If there's more wetlands, is there a larger percentage of 40B that must be built? Because essentially what my understanding is in order to avoid the wetlands issue, you can build 40B to get to that necessary 10% of the town needs. And I know Dover is in need of additional housing of that sort. So I'm wondering if there's more wetlands, will there be more 40B in order to build on that? Is that clear? Sorry.
It's a little convoluted, but I think that basically nobody gets bonus points if there's more wetlands.
Right. What I'm saying is it likely to have more 40B as a result of that, based on the fact that if there's more land that you really shouldn't build on, but the state will allow you to, if you meet the regulation of the 10%, is it more likely that we'll have to have more 40B?
John, may I?
Carol, yeah, why don't you go ahead?
Okay, thank you. So the state practice is that about 25% of the housing units in a 40B need to be affordable. So it's not actually not in the law, it's just practice. Okay, so it can change, but generally speaking, they require 25%. Regardless of the configuration of the lot. So we have a 40B application that's going on right now off of Claybrook on Troutbrook Road. It's going to be only 4 houses, 25%. So one of the houses will be affordable and the other 3 will be market rate.
Carol, just to confirm, if a company were to put in 100% rental units, don't 100% of those count towards 40B numbers?
Well, so 2 different things. If the question is how many units are actually affordable, okay, it's about 25%. If the question is how many of the units go towards Dover's SHI, subsidized housing inventory, which has to be, okay, then you're right, John, all units are applicable, even though a good portion of them are market rate. So for instance, on Red Robin, which is on 109, that's a rental development, 40B development. So we get credit for all, I think, 33 units, even though not all 33 are affordable.
And that goes to the limit. Our 10% limit is probably around 220 units.
Yeah, something like that,
ballpark.
right? As of June 30th, we're at 2.8%.
Yeah, and we need to be at 10. So it gives you, but also Liz, and I'm not speaking out of school for Pulte or anything, but developers generally will review the land. That's part of what this ANRAD process is. Calculate what they need for a town such as Dover that doesn't have sewer or water. Work all that into their needs and come up with what they can fit on there relative to what the state will allow them to. And so there's no proximity to the wetlands may constrain that some bit. They don't get any extra credit, because of the wetlands. If anything, it constrains how many units they can get on there. So.
Okay, I was under the impression that the wetland would not allow them to build unless they made it favorable in terms of more affordable housing, but perhaps that's inaccurate.
Well, basically the wetlands, there's no building on the wetlands regardless. And so then if they come in under 40B, they're the 2 components. If it's all rental, that doesn't come into play. And as for the other one, I don't know. My understanding, Carol and Essek, is that part of what Pulte is going to decide is going to start with the ANRAD and where you go, what is possible, and so that you have other development possibilities potentially. Is that correct?
That's fair, John. This is really step 1 of understanding the site characteristics as far as what's out there.
Okay.
Right, and I think Paul can confirm this for me, but we still have to enforce the Mass Wetlands Protection Act, whether or not it's they've been exempted from the town bylaw by the ZBA when they get an exception from the ZBA because it's a 40B or some other type of so we will continue to enforce the Wetlands Protection Act as a state regulation.
That's correct. Regardless of what, if they're under 40B or some conventional zoning or some other development option within Dover regulations, the state wetland regulations apply equally, regardless of any of those programs. The difference with 40B is that under the local wetlands bylaw would actually be administered under a 40B program by the Zoning Board of Appeals as part of the comprehensive permit process. And under 40B, the proponent needs to comply with local regulations, including wetlands, unless they can demonstrate that they can't economically develop the project for the project purpose of affordable housing in full compliance with those regulations. So they don't get a even under 40B, they don't get a pass on the local wetland regulations. What they potentially can get certain dispensation under that program as administered by the ZBA. So
yeah, I mean, what the applicant does is they look at all the zoning laws, whether they're Board of Health laws or Concom Planning Board, okay, and they put together a list of all the waivers of our local zoning laws that they want for their project.
So thank you, Carol. So also, let's just give you an idea. So there still is a Wetlands Protection Act that's overseen by the state. And generally that becomes the default for 40B, so that we have control within a certain distance, but it's no longer the 100-foot buffer that we oversee. It will be shorter in terms of that. However, drainage, which I'm assuming is a concern for the neighborhood, and things of that nature also have to comply with state regulations, which are pretty strict as they are, so that nothing is going to affect anything outside of the property there. And that is handled by our town engineer in conjunction with an expert review that they have that's different than who we have. So there's an awful lot of oversight on this. So that it's not just the rules don't go out by the window. They're actually reviewed much more tightly, but they're the state rules. And one of those relative to Dover is septic systems. Dover requires virgin soil that requires certain separation between the bottom of the system and the water table. The state has things that are a little bit more lenient, and something like this would come under the state requirements as opposed to Dover requirements generally. And so those are the types of things that get adjusted. But there's an awful lot of review all the way around there. Let's see, Justin, I've seen you've had your hand up for a bit.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the time. My name is Justin Casangino. I'm a resident at 8 Evergreen Way in Medfield. I'm a direct abutter. And I just wanted to bring up to the Conservation Board just kind of an ecological concern. I know on this current ANRAD and on the MassGov site, there's not currently any verified vernal pools there. But I know that there are several pools that come up each spring that work as wood frog breeding grounds. And the pools are there every spring. In July, it wouldn't be. And I know there can be evidence of it, but I know there's some pools that come up, for instance, directly behind me. So, and I know those pools would have more of an impact on that area. So I do think as peer review is being done, that there should be a survey done of those pools. Just wanted to bring that up to your attention. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't know, Perillos?
Matt Perillo, 44 Evergreen Way. Just quick questions about what was said earlier, just so that I'm clear. Did you say that a state regulation says that there can be no building on wetlands, forgetting about the buffer for a second? Did I hear that correctly? Because it seemed like there were wetland demarcations throughout these parcels. So I just was wondering if you could clarify that. And then I had one other quick question.
Unless there's any sort of exception, but it's usually they'd have to be replicating any disturbance that they had in there, that it'd have to be a really good reason. Rich, do you have that's my understanding. There may be a crossing or something like that, but there's no actual construction within the wetland. Is that correct?
John, do you want to take that?
I think that'd be best. Thanks, Paul.
Yeah, Paul, why don't you
Yeah, sure. Again, I'm Paul McManus. I'm the Commission's wetland consultant. So as these wetlands, as Rich has delineated them, are all designated as a bordering vegetated wetland. That's a category under the regulations. And under those regulations, the starting point is that there shall be no loss of bordering vegetated wetlands. Under limited circumstances, it is possible to fill a small portion of such wetlands as the chairman said, in such a case, and it's discretionary on the part of the commission, whether they would allow that, and as a rule, they don't. But it is conceivable to fill a small percentage of the wetlands and to replicate that. In other words, to create new wetlands of equal or larger area. There is a separate provision that potentially allows a wetland crossing to get from one buildable upland area to another with a driveway or roadway. That is a potential exception. But in that case as well, it requires mitigation in the form of creating new wetlands, so that ultimately there has to be the same or larger footprint of wetland post-project. And again, those dispensations from that general no-touch rule are given out very, very judiciously. You know, so it's not 100% absolute no, but it is not too far from that.
Thank you so much. So if I understand that in layperson's terms, Pulte could theoretically build on wetlands, but then create other wetlands of an equal amount to sort of offset that, and that is what both state and local Dover regs require. Is that what you're saying?
If that permission were to be granted by the Conservation Commission, and again, it is at the commission's discretion. If that permission were to be granted, it would be limited to a maximum of 5,000 square feet for so-called discretionary fill. And yes, you're correct. It would need to have an equal or larger area of wetlands created in non-wetlands today. Pulte could ask for such approval. I will tell you, in a couple decades of experience working for this commission, they are very, very stingy with giving such permission.
I appreciate it. The second question I have may not be relevant, and I respect if it's not, but there are quite a few members of this group that I would suggest are concerned, not just curious. And I wondered if the commission would enable those of us to just raise our hand virtually so that you could get a count and have that recorded in the meeting minutes. And if that's not appropriate to ask, totally understand. I've never been in one of these before. But before you move on to that agenda, I thought it might be noteworthy to give folks a chance to register that they're amongst this group.
I think the easiest way to have that happen would be to send a list of folks to our office via email, as opposed to us having to roll back the video and try to find all those folks. And for us, it's also something new because we haven't dealt with a 40B on a property line, on a town line. And so we'll get some guidance on all that. I did have a question, Paul, relative to there's certain things that we would, on our local bylaw, that we would not have control over because of a 40B nature, if that is what Pulte went with. If they made a presentation of building on a portion of the wetland as part of the 40B, do we have the say on that, or does the state have the ability to override us?
You would be the issuing authority under the state wetlands regulations, in which case those regulations say that filling and replicating of wetlands is at the discretion of the issuing authority. Now, if the commission made a decision one way or another on the project under the State Wetlands Act, either the applicant, owner, or abutters or appropriate citizens group could potentially appeal that decision to Mass DEP. So that's under the state regulations. Under the local wetlands bylaw, the ZBA will, should, and historically has come to the commission and solicited the commission's input when the ZBA has to implement the wetlands bylaw in their review of a comprehensive permit. And the ZBA, I'm sure, would ask the commission for guidance and to exercise your expertise with respect to any such, wetlands related issues under the bylaw.
So I was just, yeah, I think the question I have with 40B overriding certain things is relative to our sovereignty on things of that nature. And I will run that by town council if and when we encounter something like that. So thank you. Let's see, Carol?
Thank you. I would just like to address Matt's comment about the group of butters that are here tonight and so forth. You may or may not know that at this point in time, because there is no specific application from Pulte on whether this is a multifamily development or 40B or an MBTA Communities Act development, that the planning board is taking the lead to ensure that everybody involved, both in Medfield and Dover, is aware of what's going on as far as meetings. So it's wonderful to see the attendance tonight. As far as keeping up the website with all the documents that are submitted by Pulte to the various boards and commissions in Dover. So we are working directly with Maria de la Fuente, who is Medfield's town planner, and she has agreed to be the point person for Medfield. But if any of you are interested in getting on the email list that the Dover Planning Board is keeping, in order to do email blasts when there are meetings and so forth, please just contact shall@doverma.gov. That's Sue Hall is our town planning board admin, and she will add you to the list that we are keeping to do email blasts for meetings and various updates. Thank you.
Excellent. Thanks, Carol. And Carol, is there a web page on the Dover Mass site yet for this, or nothing's really gone far enough to create that?
No, actually,
Oh, there is. Okay.
as Pulte can tell you, there's lots of stuff already that they've done.
Okay.
So
Okay.
if you go to the Dover Planning Board through the Dover through the Dover MA website to the planning board under current initiatives or current projects, you'll see a page just devoted to Pulte. It has their presentation from August 1st. It has the link to the August 1st replay of the meeting. It has the material that was submitted to Concom for this meeting. And I've asked Janet Bowser to update that information with the new submission that Pulte made recently, the last day or two. So yes, it is there. And we'll just be adding to it as various documents come in to the Board of Health, to Concom, to the Planning Board, or wherever, or presentations.
Excellent. Thank you very much. So we're just at the beginning of this, and we'll take it where the science goes. Are there any other comments? Carol, you still have your hand up, Carol. I don't know if you. Okay. Okay. Then if you could request a continuance for this to Lori, and move forward on this with Paul's review, and we'll just proceed. Any other questions?
Sure. So I guess one question might be as to when Paul might expect to have his proposal, and when, the next hearing is. Just thinking about whether we should probably just continue to the next hearing, and if we can get our act together by then, great. If not, then we would request a continuance to the following hearing.
Yep. So why don't you handle it that way? And we voted on his. He had submitted the estimate. We have it in the office. We can get it over to you, and you can get a check back and schedule things with Paul.
Okay. Through Lori and Janet, of course.
Yeah. CC, please,
So
yeah.
the next hearing date is when, if you would.
Lori?
Yes, that would be on the 27th, September 27th.
Okay. And then if you don't mind me asking, the one after that, please.
Off the top of my head, I believe it's October 11th.
Okay, that's a Wednesday evening.
Yeah.
Great. All right,
Yes,
fantastic.
it
I guess.
is the 11th. It's definitely the 11th.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
No, thank you.
Okay,
In that
thank you,
case,
everyone.
we would go ahead and request a continuance to the September 27th hearing, please.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to move on to the next item on the agenda unless there's any objection. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you all. Appreciate your
Thanks.
time.
Thanks. Let's see. So then we are looking at a, from what I understand, I don't know if Deb Anderson is here. Oh, yep, you are.
Yeah.
So we are continuing for Haven Terrace. Is that correct?
No.
Oh, we're not continuing for Haven Terrace. Oh, okay. For some reason, I thought we were. Okay, then Janet, why don't you fill us in on that?
So in response to Paul's recent comments on a follow-up to the site visit that was conducted, and then also his feedback in reviewing the history on this, he submitted some recommendations. I believe we just got some information today, so that was, I don't think there's any way we could review that. But I don't know if Paul has had a chance to review. There was a revised site plan from Cheney that was submitted, I believe, last week. And we've just had so many documents coming in and going. I would ask Paul if he's had a chance to look at that or not.
I did actually have a chance to review Deb Anderson's submittal, which came in just today. I'm not.
Came in yesterday, actually, but anyway.
Yesterday, okay, I'm sorry.
No worries.
I'm not sure I actually saw a revised plan though.
So Artie, he submitted the plan last Wednesday. I have it. I can put it up if you'd like.
I know I did. I don't think hard copies were submitted of that.
So when I came into the office, Lori wasn't there, so I gave a couple of manila envelopes to someone that was in the office that was going to put them in her tray. So
Lori, do you recall receiving these?
I do not have hard copy plans for that.
Did you get you got the other manila folder? Envelope with
I
for
got
29
your
Saddle.
report.
Sorry?
I got something that you sent in. Oh, 29 Saddle. Yeah. So
Yeah.
to echo Janet, there's so much paperwork that's been coming in. I do not have large hard copy plans for Four Haven Terrace. All I have is the one Artie emailed out. And I think
Because I gave them to the same person that gave you the Saddle
Ridge.
Yeah.
But normally there's no one, if, well,
I'll
so
have to
the,
check, Deb. Sorry, John, I don't mean to
oh, no,
interrupt.
go ahead.
So that would be, I think that was the Board of Health across the
Yeah, it
hall.
was just someone was nice. You weren't there, and they said that they would put them in your mailbox, I guess.
So that's the same as the one that Artie emailed with a date of 9/1/23?
Yes. Yep.
I don't have those.
Okay.
And I'll have to figure out why. Janet, you don't have those either, right?
No, I never, that was not in my inbox, the hard
No,
copy.
I for some reason, I do not have that. I have the one Artie emailed, but I don't have those. And I have the folder with me here.
And
So,
then, have there been changes or an elucidation of the management plan and things of that sort? Is that something else you submitted, Deb?
Yes. So just to backtrack a little bit, you know, we had met on site with Paul, and Paul, you know, gave us the findings report that we went over at the last meeting. And in light of there not having actually been fill as part of this project,
And for several other reasons, we decided that we were no longer gonna propose the replication area. Instead, we had a suite of other improvements that we were going to be doing. So part of that was I put together an invasive species management plan and also a meadow management plan for the commission. The survey bounds are right now at the ground level, so the applicant agreed to raise those so that those are, you know, obvious. There's an area of concrete block debris within what was going to be part of the replication area that the applicant will be removing by hand. And the planting plan does include the shrubs that are going to be bordering the meadow to define that area further. So, you know, that's what we were looking at and what we discussed at the last meeting going forward. So I identified 5 invasive species out on the site. So I included those in my invasive management plan with photos. By far, Japanese barberry is the main kind of offender out there. There's large thickets that, you know, it will do ecologically well to get rid of those. And I also proposed plantings to replace in the areas that we're going to be removing the invasives. So, so I don't know if you want to discuss it further, if you want to.
Well, I think didn't we discuss a portion of this? Didn't we receive this 2 weeks ago or thereabouts? Or is there anything new that we've received?
So we did, so Artie did update the plan. Like I said, I do have it available if you did want to look at it. Basically getting rid of the proposed restoration area because there wasn't any fill, and for several other reasons that Paul had discussed at the previous meeting. So he had updated the plan to remove that to keep the concrete kind of area that we're going to be removing. So there was just a few updates to the plan that needed to happen, which are to take care of. And basically the invasive species management plan, you know, it's relatively simple because you don't allow the use of herbicides until you try mechanical means first. So the management plan goes over the different species and the timing of those efforts. And for the meadow management, it's essentially choosing the correct time to mow so that it's not disturbing the pollinators and other species using the meadow, but keeping out the woody shrubs to keep it a meadow.
And when was the management plan submitted?
So the management plan, the actual written was sent over yesterday. So I understand you're not having time to review that.
Right.
But
So
that's essentially what's been submitted.
So it seems everyone appears to be moving in the same direction at this point, which is lovely. But I think we do need some time to review these things. And Janet, would you agree with that?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Paul's the peer reviewer on this, so he needs to get copies of everything. Yeah.
Okay. And you just said, Paul, you think you got those yesterday or today?
Yes, and I had a question for Deb.
Sure.
Your management plan references planting plan, but that wasn't attached. So is that the planting plan?
So Artie did, I think it's actually a new plan instead of a revised plan that he did refer to as the planting plan.
All right.
So sorry.
Right, so that planting plan is not a narrative. It's the Cheney engineering plan.
Correct. Right.
All right, that
And
was,
is that,
that was
is,
unclear to me.
and is that
I
the new
don't- I
plan
don't
that was?
believe that I've seen that.
Okay, so let's
Right.
make sure we get those hard copies, re-delivered if necessary. And maybe resend Artie's PDF out so that everyone has the same thing to be working with.
Yeah,
Okay.
PDF is fine for me.
Yeah, and
All right.
and then why don't we continue this then to the 27th, please? Okay, any questions?
Okay, I'll
Okay.
send Lori over the request.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, then let's see. So Draper Road is continued, is that correct, on request to COCs? Lori? Or-
That was the request
Yeah, okay.
to
Okay,
continue.
so the next one is 14 Hillman's Crossing. And Janet, why don't you fill us in on that?
Sure. So this was a certificate of compliance request. I did go out to the site on September 1st. As I indicated in my report, there was substantial tree cutting and clearing in the buffer zone that was not permitted under the order of conditions. I did talk to the homeowner at the time. They have only been at the property for a couple months, and I guess there had been some conversations, not directly with the owners, but perhaps with their representatives, that there could be some issues with the COC, and they had put money into escrow to have any issues resolved. As I indicated in my report, there was substantial clearing and tree removal. Some of it within the 50-foot, quite a bit of it within the 70-foot. And I'm recommending an enforcement order so that the site is evaluated by a wetland professional to determine the number of trees removed, have those indicated on a site plan, and then have a restoration plan developed in accordance with our buffer zone restoration guidelines.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And you incorporated some pictures in your one of your reviews that still showed number of the trees, the logs still being there. Is that correct?
That's right. It's my understanding that the trees removed in quite a few of the areas were basically dumped there beyond the fence line. Yeah.
And so is there a way to ascertain the number and size of the trees that were taken down?
There still are some stumps,
Mhm.
so I would think that that would be possible. Joyce Hastings completed the COC, so she might have a better idea as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay, well, why don't we swing over to Joyce, and why don't you fill us in, Joyce, from your point of view?
Sure. So we've been working for the attorney for the person who sold the property to the current owners on the COC, and we determined that we were not involved in the original project, but when we went out there, we did determine that there were a considerable number of trees that had been removed. The stumps are all still there, and the area was not, there was no stumping, and they didn't take anything, disturb the ground. So at this point, I'm working with the attorney to determine going forward who will address the enforcement order, whether it's myself or someone else. So I will find out who that's going to be and we'll work to address Janet's comments. The stumps are still there, so we can make an estimate of what was out there, certainly location-wise, and then diameter as best we can.
Okay, and let's see, was there the fence line and other items there?
Yeah, so we
obviously that-
located the fence that's out there. The fence goes, in one location goes up to the 40-foot. It wasn't shown that way on the original design plan. So again, the new people knew nothing about this. So the new owners, the current owners. So we'll go back and find out who's going to address this and how we go forward.
Okay, I think it's still, I think Janet's recommendation is still salient, to have, an enforcement order, on record and some with the guidance therein. So.
That makes sense.
Let's see, so Janet, how would you want us to, just vote on, having you, write up this enforcement order, or do you want to have something more specific, or what's?
So in my report, I did include my recommendation for the content of the enforcement order, a deadline. So it's our unfortunately, it's becoming more and more common, this enforcement order for clearing and tree cutting. But if you vote tonight to issue the enforcement order as recommended, and it goes out, say, on the 18th, I had a deadline for a restoration plan. 1, 2, 3.
October 25th, was it?
5. Yeah, so that would give them 5 weeks to have a restoration plan developed.
Okay. And I hadn't scrolled down in reviewing this. So this is your corrective actions start on page 11 of your regulatory report, just for commission members to be aware of. And I think continues to 15. So I will entertain a motion to issue an enforcement order on 14 Hamlin's Crossing per the items outlined on the agent's regulatory report.
Somebody whose name is iPhone is raising their hand.
Oh, let's oh, interesting. They're not
muted.
Where are they? Oh, I see. Oh, so picture, yeah, no, you're still muted. So if you can unmute.
Tell them *6.
*6 is the is a way to unmute outside of Zoom. Oh.
Okay, can we talk? Okay, can you hear us?
Oh, yeah, now we hear you. Okay, so identify yourself, please.
Mike and Dot Sotis, we're the current owners and the new owners.
Okay,
we've been here for 6 weeks.
Welcome to town.
Thank you, thank you. And we are the ones who called because the trees were down. We have not done any cutting on this property at all. We want to make that clear. And the trees were down, and we didn't want to clear the trees. But before we did so, that's when we approached the town to make sure that we did so in a proper fashion. So we're more than happy to do whatever needs to be done to clarify this. But at the same time, I'm hoping that the former owners will also be contacted, because obviously they did something they shouldn't have done, and it shouldn't be our responsibility to clear up their mess.
And unfortunately, the way the law is read, it's the current owners who bear that responsibility. It sounds like you, unlike other buyers, you're fortunate that you had a heads up going into this, and so it sounds like you have some money set aside in escrow.
Well, we did. Well, no, if I may correct that, we had money set aside in escrow of 20 to repair other issues in here.
Oh,
the 20 is
okay.
not to address that issue.
Okay. So that's that. So we want to help you out in terms of guiding you in terms of what's necessary to get this taken care of correctly relative to our requirements. But the communication with the previous owner has to happen between you and them. We have no standing to really communicate with them.
All right, even though they are the ones that caused this problem.
Absolutely, we have you not.
Unfortunately, you bought the problem when you bought the house.
Yeah, you're not
property.
I'm also asking that, it sounds to me like October 25th to try and get all of this done, plans and everything else, is being a little bit unreasonable.
It's
That's not
actually,
a lot. That's not a lot of time.
well, what's involved is not, at least the way that Janet has outlined it, it's not a particularly complex solution here. So so it is, you know, there'll be some planting and some, you know, drawing and so forth. And normally 5 weeks will be fine. We understand that, you know, this is not a punitive situation on our end because we understand your circumstances. We just want to make sure that we give you the right guidance to get it handled correctly and not damage to the wetlands or the buffer any further.
Okay.
So you should be able to do that. If you can't, let us
Okay.
know. But let's Janet has her hand up, so go ahead.
So I'm looking more closely at the request for the certificate of compliance. And it did come from attorney Jonathan Fryer, who I believe is representing the previous owners. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yes, so
yes.
that's true. And what I will do is I'm going to be in communication with everybody, you all as the current owners too, so that we can come up with a plan of action. So I've talked to Jonathan about this already, and I will give you all a call tomorrow to talk about going forward.
Okay. All right. Well, we respectfully ask for a little bit of an extension. We're going away for our 40th wedding anniversary, and we'll be gone for a period of a little over a week. So if we can extend it by a week, we would appreciate it, if possible.
Janet, do you have any concern with that?
No, that's reasonable.
Okay. Thank you.
Then we will go ahead and do so.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Have a great time.
And yeah, happy
Thank you.
anniversary from behalf
Thank
of
you.
Dover Conservation Commission.
And John, so before the commission votes on issuing the enforcement order, in light of the circumstances, I'd recommend that this enforcement order be issued to the most recent previous owners and the current.
Is that legally permissible?
I think so, because the COC came from the attorney representing those previous owners. And so
I think that's a good point. I see no problem with that. And I can see by Joyce's smile that she's looking forward to receiving that.
I don't know. Doesn't it travel with the property?
I thought it does, but it's an interesting point that that the COC request came from the seller's attorney. At the very least, they'll be fully in the loop. They can determine whether they
are in the loop. They've received everything, so they're aware.
Yeah, I that's the only reason I would consider it, is because it originally came from them. And I see no problem with going ahead and issuing that. So they'll be reminded. Okay, so I will entertain, we have not yet voted on that,
No.
is that correct?
Okay. Move to issue an enforcement order on 14 Hamlin's Crossing to be issued to both the current owner and the immediate previous owner.
Second.
Okay. Thank you. All in favor, Tim?
Aye.
Amy? Sarah?
Aye.
Anna?
Aye.
Jim?
Aye.
I'm an aye as well. And Amara for the record. Okay, thank you. Okay, then we'll go ahead and do so, and Joyce will, shepherd it through. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay,
So
thank you.
We'll request a continuance of the request for certificate of compliance until a later date.
Yes, and also in that enforcement order, Lori, when you write it up, if you can change that date from the 25th of October to November 1st or 2nd or whatever it is, it will add the extra week in there.
Sure.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Let's see, we're then moving on to 47 Springdale for a COC. And Jenna, why don't you fill us in?
So we have two COCs for this property. Both are extremely old. I did a file review. We received as-built from GLM, and everything looks like it was done in accordance with the permits. So I'm recommending approval for both of these.
Okay, great. What a concept, huh? Okay, then let's see, going with DEP number 144-0371. Entertain a motion to
Move to issue a certificate of compliance for 47 Springdale Ave. DEP number 144-0371.
Thank you. All in favor? Oh, no, here a second somewhere. Thank you. Still couldn't hear it, but we saw it.
Sorry,
Okay.
I was on mute. Sorry.
No worries.
Yes.
No worries.
Second.
Okay, all in favor. Tim,
Aye.
Amy,
Aye.
Sarah,
Yes.
Jim,
Aye.
Anna,
Aye.
and I'm an aye. Next. Tim on 0560.
Oh, sure. Move to issue a certificate of compliance for 47 Springdale Avenue, DEP number 1440560.
Sarah, what would you say?
Second.
Thank you. And how do you vote?
Aye.
Tim,
Aye.
Amy,
Aye.
Jim,
Aye.
Anna,
Aye.
and I'm an aye. Okay. Let's see as we go forward on that. So then we have a
So for Nine
oh, that
Oaks,
was for
for Nine Oaks Meadow, we're gonna
Yeah.
ask for a continuance on that.
Okay, thank you very much.
There were some things we need to address,
Okey-doke. And let's see.
particularly
then
if there's we have to set bounds out there, so
Mhm.
we're continuing it to that.
Okay, great, thank you. Janet, was there anything else? You have your hand up, Janet. Was there anything else for 9 Old Meadow?
Oh, no.
Okay. And let's see, then 78 Strawberry Hill, was that continued as well?
Yes.
Okay. And let's see. Let's move from that point. We can deal with some of the administrative stuff a little later on. What I'm looking for is Jenna or Lori on the agenda. Under agents report, is that where we have? Yeah, 12 Miller Hill. Let's move to that since we still have a number of people on for that. And Janet, if you can fill us in terms of what we've received and recommendations.
Sure.
And
So.
Paul, if you have any information to add, please feel free.
So the original enforcement order required a wetland delineation. We required that be peer reviewed by Paul McManus. Also a tree inventory with species size for all disturbance. And we have gotten that site plan. Paul issued his report. He had some changes moving the wetland line upland. Those were made. We asked for an Excel spreadsheet and a listing of all trees removed by diameter, species, and as shown on the map. I believe we have received all of that information. And the next step is now to require the 12 Miller Hill owner to develop a restoration plan based on the data that we have. So this is no ordinary restoration plan. This is over an acre in the buffer zone, and then at least twice that outside the buffer zone on 3 different properties, including 3638 Farm. A portion of that is held in a CR by the trustees. So we have multiple parties of interest here. multiple properties. And the challenge is to make sure that we approach this in a really comprehensive way that's going to restore this area to the best condition possible to protect the values under the Wetlands Act and our bylaw. So my recommendation that we briefly discussed at the last meeting was to amend the order of condition to reflect very
The enforcement order or?
the enforcement order, right, to amend the enforcement order to be very specific about what we're looking for in this restoration plan. Specific in terms of the content of the plan, and also who's going to perform the different components of the restoration. There was some disturbance within the wetland itself, so that will need to be looked at perhaps a little differently. And then substantial disturbance in a buffer zone that is a varied landscape in itself. And then there's the issue that has been brought up about the Concom's role in encouraging restoration work outside the buffer. So that's a separate issue. So that's where we are. We recently got 4 documents that went out to all the Concom, and Paul should have gotten all of these too. And it's not clear whether the attorneys for the Rollins and Mr. Brooks, the attorney for 12 Miller Hill, are copying each other on all the documents. So that's something I think those attorneys need to work out in terms of what the protocol is for distributing information, because the Concom can't be responsible for sending out documents that we receive to interested parties. That's just not a tenable role for us. But the first request we got was from Attorney Brooks, representing the 12 Miller Hill owners, indicating that they are working to comply with the enforcement order, which we appreciate. But they were looking for a continuance and no vote on an amended enforcement order while they work to find and hire a certified ecological restoration professional, which would be one of the conditions in our enforcement order. We also got a letter from attorney Caroline Smith from Greg McGregor's firm, outlining their recommendations for some revisions in our amended enforcement order. And we also got a letter from attorney Kate Carter, who represents the trustees, with some additional recommendations in amending our enforcement order for restoration. And then we did get another letter, which has now been rerouted to town council, I believe, but the commission was copied on this, a letter again from Caroline Smith, attorney Caroline Smith, both to the Concom and to the Board of Selectmen, requesting that the commission have some overview or work with the trustees to restore the area outside of our jurisdiction, outside of the 100-foot buffer. So those are what's before you now. I haven't had time to really review all this in detail, but I do think it's worth a conversation now about next steps and what a schedule would be. I think the comments submitted look very reasonable, but I'd like to look at those in more detail. What I would propose is, well, maybe 2 options to try to move this along. I think our next meeting is going to be a very long meeting. Perhaps we could start early at 7 and take this up at 7. And I would think we can move forward within about a half an hour or so. I'll have a chance to look at these revisions. What would be helpful is if both attorneys for the trustees and for the Rollins could add a red line document to our amendment. So actually go through that with track changes in red. And that would be easier for us to evaluate, I think. So that would be my suggestion, that given we've just received this in the last couple of days, that the commission identify what the next steps forward are going, and also a schedule, and try to clarify that tonight.
Okay. Peter, Peter Brooks, why don't you, you had mentioned earlier before we decided to continue with this, the time frame for Goddard Associates to get started was when?
They were engaged today by me, although I haven't signed the engagement letter yet. I've told them that I have authority to retain them.
And did they give you any indication of their timeline?
They did not. I mean, there's obviously a lot of material that I have sent to them. They haven't looked at it yet, but they'll move on the schedule that this commission establishes.
Okay. And Janet, this so we have an outstanding enforcement order, is that correct?
That's right.
And then I'm getting the sense that this is because of the sheer scale and scope of this, that this is as more information comes to light, it continues to get amended. Is that correct as well?
Well, so it hasn't been amended, so the original order stands, which simply said that they had to, sorry. It indicated that the 12 Miller Hill homeowner would need to submit a restoration that complied with the commission's criteria and standards.
Okay. And what was the end date for that?
There was not a deadline for that.
Okay. And is there a deadline for Peter Brooks had referred to something next spring? Is that incorporated in the enforcement order?
That was in my recommended amended order, that once you approve the restoration plan, that we have some firm deadlines.
Okay, but we have not yet approved those amendments, correct?
That's right.
Okay, and we're going to review not only Paul's input on that, but also trustees' input, as well as the representatives for 36 and 38 Farm Street. Is that correct?
That's right. And I do think it's premature to bring on a consultant to start working on the restoration plan until we've clarified all of the requirements for that restoration plan in an amended.
Well, it seems that I think bringing them on to at least get them up to speed is appropriate, and it sounds like Mr. Brooks has started that. What's your based on your schedule? When do you think you'd be able to have an amended draft ready?
I think that if we can, if the attorneys for the Rollins and the trustees could work together and submit one recommended revision, then we could review that at our next meeting.
Okay. I think also, just to be clear, the revisions are their recommendations are helpful, and it brings more expertise to bear, which is appreciated, but not required, for us. So but I would hope that they could cooperate and get us that information. Is that Mr. McGregor, is that something you think that you'd be able to have communicated with TTOR and in a draft ready within the next week to 10 days?
Yes, that's a good idea, and we will.
Okay,
I
excellent.
think chances are, instead of writing about it, we'll do a red line strikeout of the existing order.
Sounds good. And that way, so we want to, we want to continue moving forward on this, but also please, if you get it to us, more
Sooner.
than just 1 or 2 days before the next meeting, it's
Yeah.
very helpful. Okay, I appreciate that. Hold on,
sorry,
Jim, just, Peter?
Yeah, I just would want to make sure that things get delivered to me simultaneously with delivery to the commission. I have copied council simultaneously with any communication I've had with the board. I learned tonight for the first time there's some letter that was sent to the commission and the Board of Selectmen. I haven't seen that. I mentioned earlier that the trustees, not the trustees, the Rollins letter to the commission came to me afternoon today. So I think, Mr. McGregor, you should be willing to agree with me that any communications with the commission concerning this matter are sent to me simultaneously with delivery to the commission.
Yes, we agreed to contemporaneously carbon copy the other lawyers. That would be Kate Carter and Peter Brooks.
Thank you.
Excellent, thank you. Jim, you had a question?
Yeah, John, so how are we separating? Sorry, I'm on my phone for the.
I can see, yeah, it's interesting, yeah.
How are we separating the TTOR and 14 Miller Hill piece outside of the jurisdictional areas?
That I think is something we're going to have to address. That's a request from TTOR. I think we're going to have to find out if we have jurisdiction or if it's a voluntary cooperation there on the parts, so that we have, if it comes under the rubric of the overall oversight, I think we might need to just run that by and see how that's best handled.
Yeah, only because on the 36 property, there's some that's in the border, BVW and wetland and everything else. And then there's quite a bit that's outside our jurisdiction that I assume will be worked out as a civil issue on that side.
But it would make sense that while they're doing this for them to embody it in the same document, because it's going to be, the restoration is going to be very similar, except for directly within the BVW.
Correct. I just don't want that to delay.
Let's
I would not expect it to.
Yeah.
I would not expect it.
Yeah. I think things are evolving, but the good thing here is things are evolving in parallel with all parties here. And there is communication. It's getting better and better. And let's see if we need to deal with that directly, or if but at least keep an eye on it. Are there any other questions on parts of parties? Okay, so we will hopefully we'll have something to discuss at the next meeting. We'll be putting this on the agenda. And actually, so commissioners, the concept of starting at 7 o'clock to address this one directly. Any input on that? Because we had a number of hearings get continued this evening, so it's going to be another busy meeting.
That's good to me. I mean, that's fine.
Yeah, I think it's
I'm good with that.
Yeah, to start a little earlier as opposed to move on to later. Ken, were you waving or just?
Yeah, I just wanted to thank you for that concept, because obviously we have paid people at these hearings, every single hearing, and the longer people are on here, the more expense we're incurring. So
even though it's not affecting me, I could feel it in my wallet as well. So I
appreciate the consideration.
Okay. Any other comments for this evening? Sally?
I'm curious what 14 Miller Hill, like they haven't been on any of these meetings. I mean, is Peter Brooks speaking for them as well, or?
I think it's a reasonable question. I think it was implied earlier on. Peter, you want to?
Because they got an enforcement order, correct?
Yep. You want to update us on that, Peter?
Well, I do not represent the owners at 14 Miller Hill. My understanding is that there is some agreement between 12 and 14 in which 12 is addressing all of these issues.
Is there a chance that you could get 12 to get us a letter outlining that, or having so that we don't have to start chasing 14 after everyone else has put in all this work?
Yeah, let me check, but I think that's easy to do.
Okay, appreciate it. Thanks, Sally. Any other questions for the evening? Okay. Okay, then we'll see you in a couple of weeks. Thank you for your patience, and we're moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night. Let's see. Let's see. So moving back to the agenda, we have annual maintenance, approval of maintenance estimates. Is that something that you have pulled together, Lori?
John, if you don't mind, I think I'm gonna cut out.
Oh, well, we were gonna have coffee and cookies afterwards, but yeah, no, go right ahead. It's looking pretty dark in your neck of the woods there. So yeah.
My automatic 10 o'clock light just went out. So
right. Good idea. So no, thank you very much. So,
all right, thanks guys. Have a good night.
Okay.
Thanks, Paul.
So Laura, I don't know if that was added by you. Was that added by Janet? What?
So that was added by me. I emailed out the estimates for the annual. Yeah,
yeah, this is the regular mowing.
Yeah, do you have an idea of when you did? I actually missed that.
When?
Prior to last meeting.
Prior to the last meeting?
No,
Yeah.
it was more recently, I thought.
No, I don't think so.
Really? Okay. Well, sorry about that. I try to do it a little bit
No.
closer to the meeting, but and I have them somewhere.
Let's see. Yeah, I'm browsing through my.
I just have too much in front of me.
Well, it has been
so you sent
an intensive
on the 29th.
paperwork. When was it?
Yeah, the 29th. The
Of
29th
July? Or
of August.
August, yeah.
Yep. And then
oh
it's,
yeah, fall 2023 maintenance. Yep, got it.
Yep.
Thank you.
It's 5. Yeah.
Got it.
6.
Oh, I see. So these are the handwritten.
Yeah, these are the ones from Mark.
From last year.
Right.
Honeywell,
He called to find out what we were planning to do. And those may even actually be last year's, but he wanted to know he wanted to know if we wanted the same work done, and he estimated that the new estimates would be close to what last year's was, depending on what the commission wanted done.
Okay. Did anyone actually?
I think I missed the email. Can someone forward it?
Really? I know they sent it, and I can't put
I'm sure.
hands on those estimates.
Let's see. Okay, let's see. Oops.
Let me just, maybe they're here.
This could totally be me losing it, but I couldn't quite find it.
Let's see. I'm just sending it over to you now. Okay, there we go. So these are the invoices from last year, and I did not check. I didn't take a walk on 46 Springdale, but everything else looked good. Anybody have any issues with any of the work that was done? Okay.
Oh no, he hasn't done any.
What's that?
Yeah, he hasn't
These
done
are
anything.
last year. These are last year's invoices to serve as a potential estimate for this year's
that's
cost.
yeah. No, so I'm asking from the work he did last year, did anybody have any issues? I know that.
No, it was great.
Okay,
It was great.
so I'll just.
My only comment is that he may not get any hay out of anything because we're late.
He doesn't
And I
usually, he
think
never gets it, he never gets hay out of 46 Springdale. The only one he gets.
No,
hay
but he
out
gets it
is
out of
Haven.
one of the Haven fields.
Yeah,
And
well,
I don't know if
Right.
that'll offset some of the expense. That's all.
Well,
That's, you just be
yeah.
aware of that.
Well, it seems that given Valley Farm, for example, he's $1,100 last year. Dedham Street is
Right.
3,000. So it seems like, and I don't think he hayed Valley Farm last year. It looked like he just
He did the piece where they land the helicopter.
right. So
he-
I'll just
he
outline
did-
because
He did both of them, and he did get hay out of one of them.
but I think
Yeah, that's what
if
I'm
he's
saying. Just be aware
And-
there might
but
be a little bit.
He'll still get hay out of them. I mean, he barely I get hay from
Right.
Indian Farm, and he didn't deliver my hay from my first cutting hay from Indian Farm until August.
Okay.
So
He may or may not. I just wanted to highlight
Yeah,
that.
no,
that
it's a
we're
With
good-
all the
it's a good-
rain we've had, the hay is still really good.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
good.
and
Yeah, great.
he didn't bring that to Lori's attention, but it's a good thing, to be aware of. So that, and some of his cutting last year was right around the same time as now. As a matter of fact,
Yeah.
most of it was from a little bit later. So just to, because not everyone has it up in front of them, Valley Farm was $1,095. Dedham Street was $3,000. And actually he removed some sumps and so forth. I don't know if he removed.
Yeah,
those.
he'll probably be less there because he really had to brush hog that front section.
Yeah. And then let's see, what's the other one? 87 Haven was $605. And 46 Springdale was 2,500. And those are all well within our budget numbers. And if he's going to do that similar this year, I think give some thought as people are driving down Dedham Street, whether there were some of the trees that we didn't take down on the other side of the guardrail as you're going towards Needham have continued to grow. We may want to take a few more of those down so that we can open up some sight lines as you're coming from Needham. People just take a look, and we bring it up at the next meeting there. So my guess from the consensus is that last year's numbers for this year look good. And so I think we can have Lori administer that. We don't need a vote per se on that. Let's see. Next, with all the good intentions of the world, did people have a chance to review Janet's invoice from previous month? Can somebody tell me, because I did not, how much it was? I was expecting it to be a fair amount. Or Janet, do you want to?
Yeah, it was a fair amount. Well, actually, it was the highest invoice I've submitted. It was the highest volume of work and permitting work. So it totaled $13,982.50.
Yeah. So, but we all knew it was coming. I think it's been. I'm assuming there's been no let up since then for this current month.
No, just because a lot of what we were dealing with last month has continued into this month.
And
we do see quite large fluctuations. So.
Well, fingers crossed. But we are seeing these old COCs are problematical. They're adding some significant dollars there, and we don't have the ability to recover that anymore. We'll be Lori, when are budget numbers due for town meeting and things of that sort?
Well, I'm not exactly sure. I haven't gotten any memos from the accounting department yet, but I know we're working on budgets in September, October, so I expect to get something any day now saying.
Okay, then
get this in soon.
Yeah, so you and I will deal. I think we should be asking for a bump up because of just the inundation of stuff that we have, and also maybe looking into some things. I don't know what we can do to recover some of the stuff where people just didn't do the right thing, and it's costing the town money.
You know,
Yep.
so one avenue, and we've taken that with 10 Draper. We brought
Mhm.
Paul in as
Yeah.
the reviewer, and
Yeah.
they are having to cover those costs. So
That's a good point. Yeah.
I think that would be the direction to go. And Paul's also on board with 12 Miller Hill.
Mhm.
So I think that's a good approach. And since the bylaw has now been lifted, there's no cap any longer. That was approved, that bylaw change was approved by the Attorney General. So that's operable.
Oh, okay.
So-
Mhm.
But Janet, does, when we bring Paul in, does that really reduce your workload significantly?
I think sometimes yes, sometimes.
Yeah, I do, yes.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that if we were doing that, that it was actually gonna,
I think, for example,
something
on
positive.
Four Haven, I think it did. I think
Good,
for Miller
good.
Hill.
No, I'm hopeful that
Yeah,
it
no,
would.
that's
I just want to
the
make
hope. Yeah.
sure we
And I
weren't
think it will
just
fit 10
assuming.
Draper, but what I'm seeing for Miller Hill and Farm Street there, this is going to be the mother of all enforcement orders, which Janet will be writing up even with Paul's help. So it's it's something where I'm just bringing it up that we're encountering this stuff more frequently, especially when it comes to COCs, and we may
Well,
be giving that some
I
thought in
mean,
the
people
future.
love having these rich people come into town who buy really expensive houses, but they're really not used to following rules.
Mhm.
And I think we're suffering the consequences of
Mhm,
that.
mhm. Well, we're
They're
usually
great
suffering the
people to
consequences.
have around, but
Well, we're suffering the
most of the
consequences
time,
when they move from town. Generally.
when they pay taxes, we like them, but
Yeah. So, well, I suppose that the case could be made for that because they paid $100,000 a year in taxes and their kids went to private schools. So we had no.
right,
So
so
yeah,
we should take more money because they're costing us money. I
right.
mean the commission, I don't mean.
No, I think, yeah, or we can use that as our budgetary rationalization when
Right.
we approach town management
Yeah.
for an increase in things. So
Not all of them move, they may move to other places in town,
in
so
town,
they're still
interesting.
paying.
Okay. Okay, then so Lori, if you can go ahead and give them the go ahead for this year's maintenance.
Yep, I'm here.
Okay. And is there any other maintenance that we have that we should be attending to this spring?
Uh,
Are we gonna
What?
do Larrabee again?
Well, Larrabee was done pretty recently, right?
No,
Well,
I know,
actually,
we did it in
John,
the
it's the
spring.
fall. It's
Yeah.
not the spring.
We
Yeah.
did it in the spring, right?
I think-
So are we gonna do it again next spring?
Well, let's address that at a later, is not too late of a
It's
date.
not-
But part of that
You
is,
were asking if we were
yeah,
doing
no,
it in the
no, I think
spring.
it's reasonable. The only wrinkle in that is the fact that that's not our property.
Well,
And
someday we can figure, we can.
yeah,
take
we can
it
try.
from-
So, that's the goal, is
Let's
to try to
take it.
figure that one out. But I was wondering, Wild Woods, some of the questions from Jerry Arnold et al. About some trail maintenance there.
We have to do those bog bridges because there's
Mhm.
the
So-
the scout one is like
Yeah. And
sideways.
is that something that could just be adjusted and rehabbed into place? or need
No,
to hold-
it's rotting. That's why it's
Oh,
falling
okay.
over.
Okay. So does anybody want to volunteer going in to get pictures of those so that we can share them with the commission members?
Janet, didn't we have a picture of that one?
I did, I took pictures, yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
you did? Oh, okay. Did you send them out or to everyone or?
I don't think so. I think the land management committee that I know Anna is offering to restart with Amy and myself we hadn't gotten to the point of sort of doing an inventory of recommendations.
Okay, I'm
It
happy to
fell
hear
by
that.
the Christie Wayside.
Yeah, I forgot. Yeah, I forgot that that was a thing, because I was just going to ask why don't we set one up? So that's yeah, great. Then I'll let you guys figure that one out, and just so that we keep in mind, we want to get it on the books before the end of the fiscal year. So if we
Right. I can volunteer Rick, Anna's brother, and Greg Cahoon from Open Space to be the two people instead of me. So I have too many committees now.
No, but they're knowledge. Well, I know about Greg.
They
I'm not
know
sure
the
about-
trails better than I do because they're
Yeah.
out there riding and walking all the time, and they're
Mhm.
working on the trails. Greg and Rick's been helping Greg and Jerry and David Williams with trail
So-
maintenance.
Do they use a little ATV to get into the, there, or what, just
Jerry-
wheelbarrow it in, or?
Jerry and Dave Williams both are using their tractor to brush hog trails
Okay.
and keep them open. So they're,
Mhm.
I don't think anybody uses an ATV. Greg just walks. He's pretty strong.
So I
But
wanted to bring up.
Dave also rides. I mean, Dave's
Yeah,
Dave's
no,
also
but
on the
but when
tractor.
he's working in there, he's
Right,
driving
right.
his tractor.
So also I was, I've walked Ben Arthur Way a few times and met with the person who bought the house from Brian O'Connor. And
Oh, really?
yes.
Okay.
And he was a little, I had to break the news to him that part of his driveway is actually within the easement. And he had done some plantings there. And I think he's trying to work with the folks next door, I don't know if passively or actively, to have people come in by that electric box. And I was come in straight off the street there. But that could use a little hedge trimming and stuff along the certain parts of the trail. So I didn't know if I was anticipating getting down there myself, but I didn't know, Jim, if you wanted to spend half an hour or something one of these days to take care of that with me.
Sure.
Yeah, so let's it doesn't need much, but I imagine at some point I'm due to get another printout of a plan so that I can show him more clearly where his driveway is relative to that. I don't know if people remember, but we had when GLM did the surveying there, they put a nail in the driveway with a dash of orange paint, which seems to have been when they coat the driveway, they conveniently coated over that. So okay, then let's see, moving on. Oh, so for Janet's invoice, I'll have can somebody get motion to approve Janet's invoice?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Tim,
Aye.
Amy,
Aye.
Anna,
Aye.
Sarah,
Aye.
Jim,
Aye.
and myself, aye. And Amra, it is what it is. No. Let's see. Did anyone have a chance to review the minutes from 6:14 with Janet?
Yes.
Janet, did you? So Janet did her edits to that, is that correct?
She did.
Okay, that one I didn't see. I saw the original. And general consensus on that?
Yeah, I
Anyone
think
have anything else to
they're
add?
fine. The
Okay.
edits are fine.
Great. Then entertain a motion to accept the minutes from
Move to accept the minutes of
6:14.
14th. Thank you.
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Tim,
Aye.
Amy,
Aye.
Anna,
Aye.
Sarah,
Aye.
Jim,
Aye.
and I'm gonna abstain just because I didn't actually have a chance to review the edits. So, okay. And let's see. Janet, we're based on the last few things on your updates.
So I see there was a discussion item with Anna. There were about the land management committee and also concerns about trash on the Grand Hill Drive conservation land.
Where's
Oh yeah, this can be super fast. Land management, yeah, I think we talked about it. It just occurred to me that
if we wanted to get going on that, we technically have a spot for Christy, but if you're free, Amy, or you're free, Janet, I can schedule a meeting and we can make some plans for this fall and anything budgetary and or like any grants we can come up with.
Actually, we can include or delegate some of this to open space. So I was kind of being funny, but I actually was being serious.
No, I think that makes sense.
That we should get Greg and Rick, if you don't mind having your brother working for you.
Yeah, speak to your brother. Go ahead.
Involved in this, and I'd really like to not do it because I just got put on the Gore Place board in the trustee spot. So because the trustees have trustees and Historic New England have places on the board, so I'm the trustees person.
Oh, nice.
Which is
congrats.
So I actually kind of have two hats in that.
Congrats.
And
good. Well, maybe we
and
can
they only lost $250,000 last year. It's like, why did I join this board?
Wow. So
Yeah,
well, and maybe
I think it's an account. They've been doing some building of some new barns for their sheep, and I think the accountants just put the expenses in the wrong place. They should have been capitalized. So
right.
I'm hoping it's not going to look that bad when it's actually audited. So it's like, oh my God.
Well, that makes sense. I think the idea of open space, having some cross-pollination with some people.
When Carol was chair of the selectmen, she actually got the charter of the open space, or the charge of the open space committee changed to allow it to be used in this exact way.
Okay.
Okay, great. And was anybody at Dover Days representing any group?
Yes, we were.
And
open space was
that's what I
there,
thought.
and we actually had less to do than usual because Hale trustees, the Hunt Club, and Tree Preservation Committee were all there on their own with their own booths.
Wow.
In fact, the Hunt Club had a double booth.
A double
And
booth.
was-
Exactly.
Had a
And was
double
it-
booth and two minis.
And did you
Yes.
find much interest in open space? People coming by at all, or?
We're doing mostly talking to people about Hale and also about DLCT's Springdale Fest, which is happening at the end of the month, and a little bit about trails and other open space stuff, but mostly it was about Hale and DLCT.
Great. Let's see, then anything else, Anna, on your end of things relative to discussion? Under
Oh,
the
and
manager's report?
Anna's mosquito flyer as well.
Oh, right, yes.
And that was actually we gave out not as many as we should have, but we did, and Felicia's gonna put the rest by her office, and then I'll give those. I've given her some, and I have the rest here. So I'll
Did
get
Felicia
those to
handle
her.
the printing, or where was it printed?
Oh, I need to send Lori that. I got it from FedEx actually on recycled paper, and I got 100 of them for less than $100, and I was very proud of myself.
Oh, cool, great, okay, and I like the
Yeah, they
recycled
look
paper.
wonderful. They're really great.
Awesome, good. Let's see, anything else for that's?
Yeah, just so if anyone wants to join from Concom for land management, that sounds good. And then the Grand Hill Drive stuff, this might be a
right.
question for So I was walking my dog and I started noticing these like bags of trash people have been dumping. I'm pretty sure it's the land the selectmen own. So
Yes, but we're trying to get them to give to us. It was like 18, 20, 16, 18, 20.
Yes.
Yes.
So
Do we want to also select them to clean it up and then tell them that if they, as soon as they deed it over to us, we'll take care of that afterwards from, going forward, or?
Well, Lori, didn't we submit to the memo to Mona, and we never got on the agenda this summer?
No, not yet. We did submit to be on after something that was taking a lot of time. I forget what it was. I don't know what it was. And so maybe just a reminder.
Should we resubmit our memo? And
Yeah,
say,
I mean,
by the way,
I have it.
you
I
have
know
trash,
where it
you have
is.
trash on your properties, and we'll do a cleanup if you give them to us.
You can write that.
Yeah. No, if you can just resend it as a reminder.
Yeah,
and
to get on the agenda. Yeah.
Yeah.
Before it's budget season.
Right.
Yes.
Although it shouldn't cost them anything, so it's
No, but just it's a matter of busyness, I think.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
were
Oh,
putting it
well,
off
yeah,
till
right,
something was
yeah.
done. Oh, town meeting.
It'll
Wait
create
until after town meeting.
it will create some work for somebody because they've got to change the titles, so they got to re-register the land.
Yeah, but we'll clean up trash for them.
Well, yeah, before we step on that, let's, then we'll have to figure out who actually is going to do the cleaning. So, well, no, then maybe that we might be able to pull out to the street, and maybe the highway department could take care of it or something. So, we'll figure that one
I
out.
have a truck.
Yeah, okay, that too. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Let's see. Anything else, Hannah?
Dump will take it.
No, that sounds good. I will email Janet and CC Amy, and you can add I don't actually have Greg's email, and we can organize land management.
I'll send you his email.
Okay.
And I can't commit to full-time, even though it's not full-time, but I may be able to sit in on a couple, and
please.
So keep me in mind once you get things scheduled. And,
yeah, I'll add you to CCs, and we can find times that are reasonable. I don't really have a hour I'm thinking of, so we'll figure it out.
Okay. And Lori, can you just remember for the meeting of the 27th to start it at 7?
Yes.
And let's see, Janet, any additional items regarding stormwater management or things of that nature?
Yeah, so things have been busy. Under the first item, we did get the restoration monitoring report for 6 Sterling. Joyce and I need to set up a time to meet and review that. The next item, there's a working group with the stormwater bylaw proposed revisions. The tree preservation committee led by Val Lynn, we are working with Kevin McCabe and the planning board and all the other departments to incorporate additional tree protection within the stormwater bylaw. And that will go to town meeting in the spring. And we thought that was sort of a baby step for more tree preservation. And then the next year follow with its own standing tree preservation bylaw. So you'll hear more about that. The next item, we already addressed 12 Miller Hill, but I will say that the email we got yesterday from the Rollins attorney, the second one from Caroline Smith, which was reaching out both to the Board of Selectmen and the Concom, and their request is to have the town of Dover insert itself in the restoration of the disturbed portion of 36 Farm, covered by the CR, but outside of any resource area and buffer zone. So my suggestion would be, So the follow-up, about an hour after we got that, the attorney said, oh, never mind, I'm gonna send this to town council.
Mhm.
So someone at Anderson Krieger is gonna get this. And I think it would make sense to prepare for our next meeting. Perhaps ask for town council to come at 7. But if Lori could put together a packet of information so that they can be informed as to how this has evolved and, you know, the current status of it. So they're now involved. They will have gotten this letter and they're going to insert themselves somehow. So,
Well, so it's an interesting thing. They're basically looking for the status and the power of the town to help them with their civil case against the neighbor there, is my take on that. And so I'm just looking for the rationale for the town to get actively involved. And that also goes to part of what they asked us to do today. And I referenced town council that we'd want to get some clarification on that. So it's an interesting place that they're requesting. We don't necessarily have to comply with it. You know, we can run it by town council, but I think that's really what they're asking to do is, use some of our weight to help them prevail. And I'm open to discussion on that.
I would not go anywhere near that.
No.
Okay, Lori?
I believe that attorney submitted that letter to Mona to go to the selectmen because an outside attorney can't just email town council directly. Someone tried to do that before and Nina forwarded it to the town administrator and to conservation and said, what do you want me to do? So we will hear if they did email council, that they can't just go directly to council.
No, and I think we would definitely want to get guidance from town council at the very minimum, probably since we're really ostensibly overseen by the selectmen, have them involved and give us their guidance on what our role would be in that.
So are you interested in having council at the next meeting?
Well, let's find out. Let's see where that letter's going. Let's see. Jimmy, look a little not convinced.
Yeah, I just think it's going to be problematical if we are managing outside of our jurisdictional areas, right? I think they could use the ultimate plan and restoration order to buffer to build up their plan and as a basis. But I mean, I finally looked at the spreadsheet and there's 1,830 inches of trees that is gone. Right. So if we
that letter, they mentioned 106 inches on trustee.
I don't know where they got that.
I know that's
because
really
when I
low.
ran their spreadsheet, it's 1,830 inches in the buffer, in the 100-foot buffer, right up to the. So it's 20. If you do 1.5 times restoration, it's 2,745 inches. And what are we going to put in 2-inch trees? It's 1,300. It's almost 1,400 trees. It's insane.
Well, that's the whole problem with tree restoration.
Right.
Right. And I mean, not for nothing.
And
not for nothing.
We don't have the
they
dollars.
got their view.
Yeah.
They got their view.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, this is the frustrating part is they got their view. So what's it going to cost them? $100,000? And they got a $5 million view? I mean, come on.
Right.
So maybe we get one of those.
They just increased the value of their house by,
So why don't we get one of those, those golf range nets that you can pull up?
That's what I was thinking. Is there something we can put up there, right? Like, here's your view.
I think with a drawing of the old Southeast Expressway.
The old skyline of Boston from the 70s.
But it's something, and it's when these things come up, the concept of, and maybe we'll run it by town council again, of when people do something that is egregious, we create some, we look at some sort of threshold, because this was brought up. I remember back on Claybrook Road, when somebody wanted to take down some trees down, or they took some trees down on the river, some big pines. And the neighbor was complaining and saying, great. So now they have to go ahead and plant some 2-inch, they took down 30-inch pines and they had to plant 2-inch pines. And so, and this is not disappearing. I think the idea of it will allow us to flesh out this concept of putting stuff off-site, which they mentioned, and even Peter Brooks mentioned, but we don't have enough sites. We have, we're so heavily treated as it is.
Why does it have to be for more trees? Can it be for saving trees that exist, like us buying more land?
That's where we need a little guidance.
Or possibly a conservation restriction on 1,200 acres.
Oh, which 1,200 acres?
Yeah, but but
I don't know.
Currently,
just throw it out there.
Currently,
680 acres that we need a conservation restriction on, right?
Mm-hmm.
How about we fine them $1 million? Then the town only has to come up with 9.
Then the minus the
We're looking for
400,000.
other ways to.
No, I'm just thinking about the
reduce the tax
$400,000 in
burden.
legal bills, but to counter that. But no, it's bringing up the idea that we could need to focus on getting some monetary something written on a bylaw that we can use examples like this when we go to a town meeting, because the only way we can get money for these things is by getting something passed at town meeting.
Well, no. If we make him say that he's going to have to plant, I forgot, Jim, how many trees did you calculate that was?
1,400.
Or AS calculate 1,400
trees.
trees. How much does a tree cost?
Yeah.
And planting it, that's labor too. So that's a certain amount of money, right?
Right. And I don't know.
And we'll give him a 5% discount off of that, and then he can just write a big old check to the town.
Well, for example, when we were dealing with
this is not a fine, John. This is a negotiation.
No, absolutely. But it's a matter of when it comes to actual dollars rather than trees. And I was going to ask Janet this because this came up with Craig Rafter.
Yeah, but I can show you all the trees in Hale that I'm gonna save. Many basil inches.
I understand that. As soon as you have to have somebody write out a check, it becomes a different bailiwick.
No, but he's gonna have to. We're gonna say you have to plant 1,400 trees. It's gonna cost you, certain hundreds.
$280,000. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right, it's going to cost him more than $180,000, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's going to cost if it's $200 a tree. That's $250,000. Why does he? Why don't we just make him plant? However many trees is the right number for that lot, and then write us a check for the difference to.
And that's what we need to have clarified by town council. So for example, Janet, this came up with Craig Rafter, where the idea of having Craig plant trees down on Dedham Street. And he was willing to write a check out, but I thought there was something with town council where we couldn't accept money. Do you recall that?
Yeah, but Carl Valente was in on that meeting. He said, no, you can definitely do that. He said they did that in Lincoln when he was town manager there.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so then let's.
Why, especially if we're going to put it towards something like Hale, where we can actually go and we can do a tree survey and say, he cut down these many basil inches, and we're putting this money towards preserving a multiple of that many basil inches.
Mm-hmm.
Because
I think this is the largest scale, obviously by far, issue that we've dealt with, and I think this can drive us to
or whatever her name was.
This will drive us towards seeing if we can go ahead and do that. So it's something for us to put together.
$250,000 restoration or something crazy?
Down on
that would have been good. I think that would have been good for her if she got away with only $250,000.
Yeah, it was more than that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so this is at least as egregious as what she
did.
But
she paid it out. She had to restore that stuff. It wasn't a monetary fine. But I think here we're looking at something where clearly, you can't put 2,800 inches in on the property because the trees won't survive. So it's and it's worth us looking at town council and saying, okay, this is what we think is coming up. Let's what are our based on our existing bylaw, can we do this? And I think it's absolutely something for us to pursue. At least finding out how it would be handled. Let's see, is there what else we have, Janet?
Couple quick things. So I did, and I apologize for sending it out just today, but it's an article for the October Town Digital Newsletter on value of open space and combating climate change. And I thought with the Hale acquisition coming up, that this would be a timely. So Anna sent me some comments, and I don't know if anyone else.
I didn't have a chance to read it.
I have some. Can you send me the Word and I'll do it with revisions on it? It's just,
yes,
it's easier than.
And when's the deadline for submission?
Well, it's supposed to be Friday, but I know,
Okay.
so I think I could get a little bit of a.
Okay. Let's see, and then discussion to vote to amend enforcement order to include additional requirements. Can we hold off on that?
Oh, that was 12 Miller Hill.
Oh, okay, got it. Oh, okay, I thought it was on a separate thing. And then an ID creation?
So Anna had asked me, Anna had wanted to go out to the Junction Street Pulte property, and she asked about, clarification in terms of the commission's authority to enter land. So I thought what would be helpful is, and I can do this really quickly, is just make up identifications on a, for everyone. And then also a letter outlining your statutory authority to enter property directly from our bylaw and regs. So
Well, maybe
that,
some that could be printed on the back of some sort of, ID if,
well, yeah, I'll see if I can get it on.
okay.
But I just thought that would be helpful. So in case someone were to be driving by and see something, they
At one point, I have one in my car. I don't know. I think it was George who came
We
up
did
with
have
it.
something.
Yeah, we had a thing that you put on your dashboard when you park
Yeah.
somewhere. And it said, Conservation Commission, something. I'll look at it. It's still in my car.
Feeling that was 3 cars ago for me.
Yeah, but having like an ID badge would be more official, if
Mhm.
you're walking out in the woods.
Yep.
Eating something, so.
Oh, I can see both because it is helpful if you pull your car over somewhere and you're not in it, then that's helpful too. I actually, however, went to Pulte just on my own when as soon as it came in, just to review things, and that's also why I'd asked about the if they'd used any augers. You can see the site has been a problem site for decades. There are ancient test pits there, and actually I did the same thing today, although I didn't go onto the property. I looked at the properties because it'd been raining for so much. People had stated, I was on the ZBA hearing for Trout Brook, and people were saying that there's standing water where the septic systems were going, and I confirmed today that that's not true. And so so the idea of going places, you do have the statutory ability to do, to enter, but I think it's helpful if you ever run into somebody, we have something printed up that quotes that statute, would be helpful. So
Badges? We don't need no stinking badges.
yeah, right. So let's see.
And the business card.
Just the
What's that?
last,
Go ahead, Janet.
yeah, or a business card. I mean, those aren't expensive.
That's really
But
tiny
I mean, I
print.
can, if we have I can make them, because I have all kinds of, the ones that you can print your own.
Yeah.
Those.
Yeah, I suppose you can do that. I mean, I was thinking of, something well, no scale there with the camera, but something that was maybe 5 by 6 inches or something that you could keep in the car that you could print this stuff on in terms of the statute. But that's
Yeah.
either or. You can start with business cards and we can make up, there is a town seal, right? We just have to make sure
Yeah,
they
I've
know.
stolen it off the web a few times.
Yeah, so.
Which one do you
that's-
want? The one with yellow or the other one?
The, do you have a,
Couple of
do you have a laser color printer or is it an inkjet?
It's a business quality inkjet, so it's almost laser.
So it doesn't run when it gets wet?
Mm.
Oh, because that's helpful. Or just, do you have a laminator?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so.
All right, I'm
Yeah,
fading.
well, yeah,
I'm
so let's
sorry.
do a
One
rough
more-
draft on, let's do a rough draft on that, and I think that covers us for this evening. Thank you, everybody.
Oh, I just had one last quick thing. So a couple of weeks ago, I asked to have the deadline for certificate of compliance, a 2-week deadline. I'd like to do the same for minor modification requests. We just seem to be getting a lot of material in at the last minute, a week before the meeting. And it's just, when it's not a heavy volume, that's fine, but we've been, the volume's been high. So I'd just like to have the commission just to have your sign off that that's okay.
Sure.
Well, anybody want to discuss it anymore? I don't feel like discussing it tonight, or does everyone feel that's an adequate decision there?
Well, let's lengthen it. Let's do it for now, and then if we get less busy, we can relax it.
Yeah, I have no problem with that.
Sounds good.
So,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay.
Okay, then, hearing no objection. Tim, you want to finish that?
The meeting is adjourned.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
all.
Okay, night,
Good
everyone.
weeks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Night.